Welcome, one and all, to the Video Game Hour Live Game of the Year podcast. We're going to duke it out. We're going to argue about every game that mattered this year. And probably there are going to be a few that did matter that we don't get to. We're sorry. We're college kids. We can't play every video game. Joining me today in the arena of champions is Bryn.
Hello.
And Michael.
Hello.
And Noah.
Hi.
Sam.
Hey.
And Tommy.
Hello.
Jacob will jump in later at some point, and maybe Czar if he ever wakes up. That sounded ominous. We have 6 categories today to go over. In order of arguing, they will be best ongoing game, best music, best art, best storytelling, best gameplay, and finally, game of the year. Each category, except for game of the year, will have one winner along with 2 runners-up that are not in any order, so 1 winner and then 2 equal runners-up. And then for game of the year, we're going to do a top 10 list. I'm sure that will take a while. And honestly, I feel like there's not much else I need to say before we get into it. I mean, watch our show Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Central Time on twitch.tv/VGHL. Because if you're listening to this, you've definitely already seen the show. But I have to plug something at the top of a podcast, otherwise it's not a real podcast. So the first one we have that I honestly don't have a huge stake in, but I will gladly argue something, is best ongoing game. And the nominees for best ongoing game are Destiny 2, Fall Guys, Overwatch, Total War, Warhammer 2, Apex Legends, Valorant, Final Fantasy XIV, and Among Us. Now, right off the bat, are there any that you just want to strike from the list immediately because we don't care about them?
Okay, who here cares about Final Fantasy XIV?
Czar, but he's asleep.
Rip.
Kill it.
I guess kill it. Yeah. I don't think anyone's here gonna argue.
First casualty.
Alright.
While you're shoot Valorant while you're at it.
How
Do we
didn't you play
care
Valorant?
Huh? Oh, I quite enjoy Valorant. I don't think it's the best ongoing game.
All right, that's fair.
What about
Okay,
Overwatch?
what's struck from the list?
Yeah, what about Overwatch?
I think Overwatch is pretty good, but I also don't care.
Yeah,
I
also don't care
played a
enough
decent
about
bit of Overwatch, but I didn't nominate it. So I'll
Shoot
gladly
it.
strike it from the list. Boom, gone.
Remember, it's
We
an
have
honor to be
Destiny 2.
nominated.
It is an honor to be nominated, even if the nomination lasts all of 5 seconds.
Yes.
We have Destiny 2, Fall Guys, Total War, Warhammer 2, Apex Legends, and Among Us.
I mean,
What do we think
What are people
about
feeling?
Fall Guys?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I'm fine with striking Fall Guys from the list. I think that there's other
Really?
places.
I am not fine.
Are
I
people-
love Fall Guys.
I was gonna say the
Michael,
same
you played
thing.
more Fall Guys than anyone I know.
No,
Are
this,
people still
no.
playing?
Well, here's the thing. It comes down to what I think about like best ongoing, and I just feel like it's been out for like so short. Like it only came out like 6 months ago. I don't really feel like it's had time to get into like the best ongoing category. It's only had a couple of seasons.
Mhm.
And also I just don't feel like I'm gonna argue for that one on this category.
I
feel
know,
like
actually, that tracks.
And I
was
also-
surprised at first, but now I get it.
I played.
Yeah.
I'm the one that played that game the most, and I'm
Mhm.
also don't want to argue for it on this category specifically. So I feel like
I think that's a
I'm
pretty
striking from the list.
If the person who plays the game the most doesn't feel that it should be at the top, then I think that's a pretty good indication.
Yes. All right. It is stricken from the list if there are no further objections. All right, we have Destiny 2, Total War, Warhammer 2, Apex Legends, and Among Us. One of these games has to go, then the rest get a slot.
Okay.
Obviously, 2 of them are lesser slots, but
What about Apex
I-
Legends?
Don't you dare hurt my baby. Get rid of Warhammer.
Uh-oh.
No, dude.
I knew
Warhammer,
this was the
it
fight that
belongs
was
in the
coming.
top 3.
Oh, here's the.
I mean, I
Fight.
feel like there's Among Us.
And I
Um,
think I also think Among Us should stay personally.
Among
I've
Us
actually had a lot of fun
should
playing
stay.
Among Us.
Yeah, I've had a
Yeah,
lot of fun playing
honestly.
Among
And
Us.
we've all actually had a lot of fun playing
Here's
Among Us.
Yeah.
my
which I
top
think
3.
speaks
My
to it.
top 3 in the list in no particular order: Destiny 2, Total Warhammer 2, Among Us.
But that's only your top 3. I don't think anybody else has Warhammer in there.
I don't think anyone else gives a shit about Warhammer 2. I don't
I
think
care a
anyone else
lot
here
about
cares.
Warhammer. I think Warhammer this year was awesome. It had 2 really great pieces of DLC. They continuously update the game with free content. It's awesome.
I think you can say that about.
No, I have
Yeah,
a
you can say that
question
about all
for
these
you.
games. You can say that
That's
about all
it?
these games.
That's all you got?
But
They have
Noah?
DLC
what did,
and they're fun.
what did Among Us add though?
It added
Noah,
accessibility
I have a
options,
question
actually.
for you.
Did it?
Better
Did it
matchmaking.
I have a
did it add
question for Noah.
My bad.
Huh?
All right.
Not a map.
Um,
Matchmaking.
How long have you been playing Warhammer? It's my question. When did you start playing it recently?
I played it back in 2019, and I picked it up again 2020.
Because the fact that you've gotten so into it makes me think it might be a little bit of a honeymoon phase.
It's
Also
not
a bit fair.
honeymoon phase, but-
Actually, yeah. If for an ongoing game that you love, do you hate it yet? Because I think that's the test.
No.
That's also a very good
weird-
indicator of if
I'm not
it's a
sh-
true ongoing game. No, that is a 100% valid question.
All right, I have that feeling for Destiny 2, not for Total War yet. No.
I feel like you haven't been playing it long enough.
All right, you know what? It's fine. Like nobody else here has played Total Warhammer 2. It's an honor to be nominated. You're number 4. All right, Total
Yeah,
Warhammer 2.
it is.
Total Warhammer 2 is stricken from the list, which leaves us with Destiny 2, Apex Legends, and Among Us. One of these will be the winner. The other two will be equal runners-up.
I mean, Among Us is the only game from this list that I've played, but Among Us is
Among Us is pretty great.
It's
been
a fun game.
they've I don't think it's come out yet, but the new map that's from the Henry Stickmin games.
I mean, that's
We're
this
all
year, so
looking
it doesn't
forward to
matter.
that.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah,
but it
we
doesn't
can't we can't judge that yet.
We can't talk about
Because
that?
it hasn't
Okay.
come out.
No,
The
no.
new
But-
map's not out. We can't talk about it.
Okay. It doesn't exist. But we've all had so much fun playing Among Us, and it has lasted the whole year. So I think it might deserve best ongoing.
I
Or
disagree.
before we settle, Michael,
Okay.
say your piece on Destiny
You
2. I know
disagree?
you want to.
I'm the Destiny player here, and I feel like this year in particular was definitely one of the best years that Destiny 2 especially has had, and honestly all of Destiny. I think it had an amazing season leading up to Beyond Light, where it actually had sometimes, like last year with Shadowkeep, it was kind of meh throughout their seasons. This year, the season leading into Beyond Light, it did a lot of like really good storytelling on how the darkness is like coming into the universe, which is like this thing that they've teased for all of Destiny. It's like the enemy, it's like, ooh, it's the darkness, and people are like, what is it? And the devs are like, don't worry about it, you'll learn later. And it's later now, and we actually know, and it's here. And it did a great season talking about like the difference between like light and dark, and like what does it mean to be like good versus evil. Like we've always thought like, hey, the light is like what we use and it's the good thing, right? And the dark is bad, and then the darkness is here, and it's like, oh, this is actually like still useful, it's not necessarily bad. And so they've done a lot of like interesting storytelling on our characters coming to terms with using darkness, and how there are certain characters in the game that are like really for it, and then there are other people like Zavala, who runs the Vanguard, who is like, hey, we should not be using the darkness at all, this is going to wreck us. And you kind of have this like a bit of tense situations going on between the characters. And overall, I feel like it has had added amazing missions, like with some really good story. The raid that got added, Deep Stone Crypt, is one of my favorites. It's not like a really long raid, but I think a good way to describe it is really short and sweet. Like, I think all of the elements of it are there, and they're really fun to play through. And I feel like in total, like not just like quality of content, but also like amount of content that's added within this past year, I feel like has really made a good argument for it being the best ongoing game.
I
We also
understood
went
nothing of what
free-to-play
you
this
just
year,
said,
right?
but you sound very
It
passionate.
also went. It did go free to play. So the free to play part is you get Crucible, you get Gambit, you get the strikes, and I think you get access to all the worlds. But I think the story missions themselves is like the main thing that gets like you don't get
Okay,
access to.
not even like the base Destiny 2 campaign.
So
they removed a lot of
they removed a lot of stuff because they were
okay.
like, because this is like, it's the 4th year of it, and we're like, this is getting a lot to handle, so they had to shrink down, cut out a lot of the fat essentially, which actually makes the game also run just so much better. Like load times are very fast now comparatively to like minutes of loading.
I mean,
But yeah.
compared to Among Us, I would say that Destiny 2 Destiny itself has been adding a lot of stuff, as Michael has been saying. So
Yeah,
I
Among
would-
Us is like, it's good, it's fun, but I don't really know how much, it hasn't added like a lot because there isn't a lot there. It's a fun like core game, but
No,
So-
that's what I was going to point out. Like, it became popular this year. It came out 2 years ago, and it just now became popular, which I think does speak to it. That even
Absolutely.
though it's well past what it should have been, it sort of initially should have been. Like, it's now become popular because it is a good game. It just took
Yeah.
longer than expected to catch on. Which
Yeah,
I
Brent,
think
wouldn't you be in a
speaks to its
honeymoon
quality.
phase with Among Us?
I wouldn't say I am because I don't play it often enough to be completely enamored. I don't feel the same adoration for Among Us that you feel for Warhammer.
No,
Yeah.
Tommy,
nobody
you
here plays
played
Total War.
some Destiny and Among Us. What are your opinions?
Among Us is the one thing I will say about Among Us. Among Us is great if you have friends. If you don't,
Yeah.
it's a crapshoot.
Would
then
Destiny
again-
not be the same way?
No, it's the same way, but Destiny is like it's good enough of a shooter with the solo play missions that you're like, I can just go around and shoot stuff. Whereas Among Us relies on cooperation, and Destiny doesn't always necessarily. So that's one thing for and against the others. The other thing is though is that Destiny isn't particularly great for new players, and I know Michael, say your piece if you want, and I get that I'm an idiot, but like figuring out what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing at all times is horrifying. Like, and I will admit fully that I'm an idiot. I'll say it.
I will
But,
say, I
like,
Not an
think that there were
idiot. You are
multiple
not an
times.
idiot. You're
well,
very smart.
Well, here's the thing. I remember I took you and Czar through the campaign, and there were multiple times where it was like, "Hey, no, do you understand what's going on?" And you were like, "Oh no, I skipped through the dialogue." And it's like, "Okay, well, that's kind of not on the game then. You
I
hit B
assumed
too
he
many
meant more on a.
times."
I assumed he meant,
I meant
more
more
on a
on, like, a-
systems level than a storytelling level.
More like a-
well,
like
here's the thing:
a
the
tracking
dialogue it
system.
tells you like, "Hey, well, because some of like the systems has to do with like getting to the systems and understanding that part, and the dialogue and like the reading that stuff tells you a good bit about, hey, this is like what you're doing for this part now." It doesn't necessarily do all of it. It does do all of it. I think that there are still points that it can improve, but I want to say that there are. I definitely think that the new light, they call it like the new light experience for players, it is like actually like really good. They like completely revamped it for this year, and I've like gone through and played through it, and they've brought back like the original Destiny 1 Earth zone as well.
Mhm.
And so you
That
essentially
was funny.
yeah, you go through like a small campaign on like the base Earth, and it gives like a really good tutorial for new players, and like here's how bounties work, here's how strikes work, here's how like all the different systems work, and it's like a really nice, tightly confined sandbox that keeps the players in. And then once they get the hang of it, then it lets them go into the larger role campaign.
Yeah, no, I don't think any of that's bad. Like the intro stuff is good. It's more like once I downloaded what is it, Beyond Light is the thing. Yeah, once I downloaded it and we ran through the campaign together. That was fun. That was easy breezy. But it was after that. The way it works is that once you unlock the new powers of darkness, you don't have all of them, and so you need to complete missions to like complete them. I've logged into that game several times trying to like try and complete that mission, and I still don't know exactly where or how to do it. I don't know what about
Like where to get
unlocking-
the mission, or like
No,
to
I
do
have
in
the
the
mission.
mission.
It's tracked, and I'm
So-
waiting, and I've talked to
Some of
people.
the quests
and I've
are
looked up
very
things.
cryptic.
Yeah, and
I mean-
it's just like
some of them are purposefully cryptic because there's a bit of a puzzle to it. But I have never encountered like a mainline story quest. Like I know the stasis, like getting your powers and stuff. That's like a main quest in that game. I feel like that quest was pretty straightforward on what it gave you. It gave you some pretty good waypoints on where to go on that one.
sure the getting your powers is easy, but the upgrading them.
No,
and
that's what I'm
unlocking-
saying. The upgrading the powers, yeah, the after the campaign is done, like getting all that stuff.
That's
Quick
where I
question.
disagree. What?
Quick question. What's the other game that we haven't
Apex
struck out yet?
Legends.
Apex
Apex
Legends we
Legends.
haven't touched on.
Since we're do we want to talk a little bit about
Yeah.
Apex?
Fuck
Just
yeah!
to
I'll talk
see-
about
Yeah,
Apex.
Tommy can definitely talk about Apex.
New season,
us about
new map,
Apex.
baby. We're doing great. So Apex, the previous season have been suffering quite a bit because they implemented a crafting system into the game, and it kind of, I don't want to say ruined. It made things a little bit more uncomfortable for players, just because the idea is that they would prevent certain items from appearing within the world, and that those were only craftable, so everybody had access to those items. And so it became this weird thing of, instead of just like randomly looting buildings, do I have to go to these areas and craft stuff? And I think this season they really fixed it because it's still in the game. And rotations for what is locked and what isn't for daily and weekly basis is much simpler now. It's also a bit more balanced for people and stuff like that. So you can hop in and you're like, oh, cool, I can get like one good thing and one bad thing, but that doesn't mean all the good shit is locked and stuff like that. They also introduced a new map, which is fucking gorgeous, might I say. But it's also
Can agree to that. Very pretty.
It's What's really impressive about the season in particular is that this, along with the new map, has introduced a weird side effect of like buffing old characters just passively. So it's like Wraith used to be completely broken, and now after last season she was like kind of okay. People were just kind of getting tired of playing Wraith. Pros still play her because she's hard to hit. But on this new map, she particularly has a massive increase into what she can do, because there are just points where you can just fall like 40 feet and die, or points where you can just launch yourself off the map, which like totally increases like both the verticality of like things you can do with previous characters, as well as like opportunities for all the new heroes they've introduced to just like set up and do their thing. All in all, I feel like right now it's fantastically balanced. Also, there's lore stuff, but I don't know if I want to get into that because none of you know what it is. But it's cool.
Is it actually like in the game, or is it just like side bits?
Oh no, it's in the game.
But does it actually like affect the gameplay at all, or is it just like, hey, here's some or for backstory on characters?
It affects the game in the way that it explains why the fuck you are where you are, as well as what characters may or may not come next.
Okay.
For a multiplayer like hero shooter type,
Battle
it's
Royale.
very you know what I mean. When you
It-
have
all
the
those things.
Yeah, when you have the
Yeah.
diverse cast of characters, every season it's doing better at explaining like and making them I don't want to say more accessible because that's not the word I'm trying to use. It makes them more relatable. You understand more about their characters and more about why they do what they do, as well as like why are they what are their relationships with each other, which is just a cool thing to have for people who just want to create big characters.
I realized as Tommy was talking about that I have played all 3 of these games now that we're talking about at the end of the year.
What are your
Nice.
opinions? Because clearly Michael and Noah are in their own little camps.
Well, Noah was all
What are
about
your thoughts?
Warhammer. And
Yeah,
then
that
he
was all
axed
about
that.
Warhammer.
I mean, not
Well,
Noah, not Noah. Sorry, Michael and Tommy.
2, Destiny
Tommy.
2 is still like my second fave. Destiny 2 is my pick right now.
I think I've definitely played the most Among Us because it's the easiest to just like jump on with people.
Yeah.
And I think I actually have had a pretty decent time jumping in and like randos, not on voice chat with Among Us. Like I'm just jumping into public lobbies. I've actually had some decent fun doing that. And I think I've played a similar amount of Apex Legends and Destiny 2 this year, and kind of just total, in that they're both very foreign to me. And when I jump in, there's a lot that I just don't understand. Just based on the limited amount that I played of both of them, Apex was a little bit easier for me to get a grasp onto in a shorter amount of time. Now there's still a lot on Apex that like I got no clue what's going on. I'm not trying to act like it did a fantastic job of fully onboarding me in the little time that I played. I think it did a little better than Destiny though. When I started playing a little bit. Beyond Light came out in November, right, Michael? That
November,
was when
yeah.
everything really like totally
Yeah.
kicked off. When did this new season of Apex start? Like the new
Something
really
like
good
that.
season. Was it also
Yeah.
November?
About the same time, yeah.
Okay. I played both around the same time. I played a little bit of Destiny before Beyond Light kicked off. And was just very confused when I started playing Destiny 1 as the tutorial mission, because I played a lot of Destiny 1 and did not know what was going on when I was back playing Destiny 1 when I booted up Destiny 2. I would say, I don't know. I feel like I'm pretty even on Destiny and Apex. Like I have Among Us at the top because it's the one I've played the most and had the most fun playing. Between those two though.
Really quickly, I just looked it up.
Yeah.
This current season is the 5th season of Apex, and it began in May of 2020.
Oh, okay, so it's been going strong since May.
Yes.
Oh yeah, the new map has been out for a while. That makes sense. Yeah. I'm a little
Also,
split.
the way they do map rotations is really well.
Sam, how are you feeling about all this? I'll throw it over to you.
All right. I played Apex like when it first came out, so I honestly don't think like I can give any feedback on it now. But I will say it was pretty easy to like get. I've never played Destiny 2, but the way that Michael described it, I would say that it did improve. Like it seems to be giving a lot to their core audience. Every patch, every new update. So that's why I thought maybe that would be a better ongoing game compared to like maybe Among Us. I think Among Us from all those 3 is the weakest, just because it's mostly just the popularity that it gained this year that made it where it is now. So Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they updated it since the first time it came out, like how much they did to it until recently. Now that it's popular, they obviously are going to add more to it. So
I guess one thing you could say about Among Us versus the others is that Among Us is a very simple game, and it's something that would like it sounds like Destiny 2 and Apex, in order to keep them going and keep people interested, you have to put a lot more effort into it. So I would not be upset if Among Us was just a runner-up. I'm laying down Among Us.
I don't
for
think
the
simplicity
champion
is an
title.
argument for why something should or shouldn't.
Well, no,
win.
I'm just saying that like you'd have to do a lot more, it seems like, in Apex and Destiny to keep people there because Among Us has kind of an inherent appeal and
the
inherent
gameplay of
addiction
Among
to
Us
it when
kind
you
of
get
comes.
friends together.
The
A
gameplay
plus
of
for Among Us.
Yeah, and like the gameplay of Among Us,
Personally.
it's not necessarily you play it because it has like the stellar gameplay and like the art style.
Yeah.
Like no, it's all really simple. You play it because you play it like with your friends and then you talk.
Mhm.
to
It's the
other, and
social
Yeah.
deduction aspect
It's
of
it's
Among
the
Us.
social
Like, I'm not
justice.
gonna.
So that's why they
I'm
don't
not
need
gonna
to,
say the
like,
mini games are thrilling.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I get
Yeah.
what Bryn's saying. It's like it's not as much about the actual game itself as it is about the setup that it's made for the social aspect.
I mean, if we're gonna say like which,
I mean, I think that's a boon for Among Us, but I'll
I
Yeah,
feel like
yeah, I never think.
defining the ongoing game, like I don't know how we, because if you're saying ongoing, right, then you would say
Mhm.
Among Us has garnered the most amount of audience ongoingly, right, since 2018
Mhm.
till now. But then if you say like ongoing as in like adding stuff to it, then that would be a different definition of what's the best. So that's why I'm kind of just
I
yeah.
always think
I
of like
think
ongoing as like
strictly
what.
adding content isn't necessarily what we're looking for.
Yeah, it's like what game like over the year has like shown that they like I think
Have
like
staying
saying
power?
that like have staying power and like talk and like cared more with about like their core audience and like what have they done to make sure like to improve the game over
Mhm.
time. It is a bit of like, yeah, what have they added? Because I mean, you do want new
Mhm.
content, you do want new stuff. It definitely is
Yeah,
an aspect of it.
then for that, I would say that I would put Among Us as a runner-up, even though I never played it. I have seen people play it, and I just think that I mean, it recently became popular, and so it's like, I don't know, it doesn't seem, I don't know, like in my definition, I just don't think it should be the number one. So it should be runner-up.
I think
I
because
agree.
it came
Yeah.
out a while ago and just now got popular is like oh, good for it. It hit, and that's sort of something coming back from not being good or not no one caring about it, and then all of a sudden like, oh, it's a thing and people enjoy it now. I think is a mark of a good ongoing game.
Yeah.
I say that I'm also okay putting it in like the second place, whatever. But
So then it's just we're back to the matter of Apex versus Destiny.
yes, Apex versus Destiny 2. If we've decided that Among Us is one of the runners up, Apex versus Destiny 2.
I think one of the Sam, I know you talked about like listening to like the audience like implementing changes. One of the things actually Destiny that they did this year specifically that is a lot better now is that with their like I talked about how like they changed like how their like systems work and how they kind of like shrunk everything down a lot because they like trimmed a lot of the fat essentially from it. They are now
Mhm.
able to like implement like community wanted changes and patches at a very fast rate. In particular, I remember like when the game came out with the new stasis and like ice abilities in PvP, people were like, "Hey, this one class, the warlock, like their freeze is like it's definitely like it's too fast. It's going too fast." The next week, they'd already patched it and tuned it and fixed it, and like everyone like the community like this is a lot better now, like and it's working well. I know they've continued to do that throughout the season as Beyond Light has like kept going. That they've continuously been really fast on the upkeep of implementing community wanted changes. So I think that's very good.
Oh, yeah,
Has
that's good.
Apex done the same level of community requested changes, Tommy?
I remember if I can for a second, it wasn't like the season before the one that started in May that turned right. They had significantly raised the time to kill, which was an issue for a lot of people, and then didn't they? Right, Tommy? Am I crazy? Or
The time to kill.
they lowered the time to kill a lot in like the season 4 or whatever, and then with season 5 they brought it back down. Am I crazy? I feel like I remember hearing about that.
I'd have to Google this because I don't
Okay,
know exactly what
you
you're
don't
talking about.
then don't listen to me. I'm crazy. I didn't play a lot of it. I'll let you be the expert on Apex.
No, the biggest thing about the season before it was the issue of crafting and just how it kind of just changed every parameter of the game. And people didn't know what to do with that, but I think they realized, oh, their big thing for the season is like, oh, we just need to improve this for the next season. And there was some Apex does a thing because it is a shooter where if there's something that's broken, they use the first 2 weeks of releasing a new mechanic or a new character, and then after that they'll release an update to try and patch it out. But it always comes up with the consistent updates at the end of every season. And every season it always has hey, all those things, not only are we making more or adding more, but everything previously we have updated to make it match everything. And it also is now just great quality of life stuff that they're adding to it as well.
Also, I think my final piece on why I think Destiny should be over Apex is having I have actually also recently gone back and started playing Apex more, and I feel that this year of Destiny specifically, compared to Apex, I feel that I felt Destiny, it's evolved more over this year than I have with Apex. I did not play Apex for a full solid year or so, and then jump back into it. And I could definitely I could get back into it, but as I was playing it, I was like, hey, there's this new map, and there's some crafting, and it's still Apex, and it's it's still very much the same, and it's good. It has a good core gameplay, but I definitely I didn't feel that the changes were very significant. They were a lot of tuning stuff happened, and they had the crafting in the map. But having jumped back in, I was like, this still feels very much like it's still the same Apex I was playing.
Personally, I don't feel like it's starting from a better base is necessarily a mark against it.
I'm not saying
far astray.
Well,
and
here's
they
the thing.
iterated on that. I don't think that's.
I think that Destiny also it had a good base, but they did significant evolutions.
Because Destiny 2 was a goddamn mess for a long time.
No, but I mean comparatively, from the last year and what it's brought into it. And how it's
that
changed.
Is true. In the last year, it hasn't been too much of a disaster.
Year one to Destiny 2 was pretty mediocre.
Oh yeah, I'm not talking about how it's evolved from year one. I'm talking about how it's evolved from the last season and how it's evolved.
I think it has progressed significantly compared from Shadowkeep to now. I think Beyond Light has made so many good improvements.
I mean, just in particular, with the new Darkness stuff, it's not just a story thing. It is a completely new set of abilities, completely new damage type. The way that it's handling its abilities is much more. You have much more customization over it.
Quick rebuttal. I feel like the fact that that's not a bad mark against Apex. The idea is that because it's a battle royale, is that you're designed to be able to pick it up and say, oh hey, there's some new stuff, and just go. My problem with Destiny is that every time I think about it, I'm like, do I really want to just go through and kind of forcibly just grind until I'm the correct light level to do stuff? Or it takes you saying hey, you want to play Destiny to be yeah, I'll play. There's someone that can guide me through this, whereas Apex, I'll just pick up on my own and just be hey, I'm getting enjoyment out of this.
Yeah, that's always a problem with comparing a game like Destiny 2 to Apex Legends. Apex Legends is a BR, and their form of new content's here's a new map and other.
It's definitely at its core design. It's easier for new players to come in.
I do think ostensibly though, Destiny presents itself or tries to present itself as something that you could play on your own and still get fulfillment out of. And I always feel I'm completely lost if I don't have someone else there to help me. If you're already in it for a while, you totally can. But unless you have been in it for a long time, I don't really think you can get a lot out of that game unless someone guides you through it.
Remember, best ongoing game doesn't necessarily mean best game that you can not play for a while and then pick up and get again.
That's the other thing.
I would be fine giving best ongoing game to Destiny 2. I'm a bit more swayed by Michael's arguments than I am by Tom.
All right. Well, it sounds like generally the consensus is Destiny 2. Michael's on that side. Noah's on that side. Bryn's on that side. Sam seems to be on the Destiny 2 side, unless I'm mistaken.
No, yeah, sure. I don't know, because I played Apex. You know what? I'm gonna stop talking.
Sorry, Tommy. You'll get it next time. You'll get him next time.
Well, even have to deal with me next time.
I'm personally also on the Apex side, but it seems like Destiny 2 has won this fight. So
I'm just tired of arguing. I'm tired of talking about it. Let's move on.
Oh, we just started this podcast. It's been like maybe 30 minutes.
It's been
It
32
has
We've
been
gotten to
minutes.
thirty
the hard
minutes.
stuff
Been
of
32
arguing
minutes.
subjectively
Alright.
what game is prettier.
Yeah,
Alright,
yeah, the
Destiny
much
2.
Well,
easier
I'm gonna have
task
fun
of
with that
arguing
game.
art.
We're going to music next. We're not going to
I'm
art
gonna
next.
be.
Oh, we're going to
I'm
music
gonna be
next,
ready.
alright.
for
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
big
do I
stick.
drag people in now?
Yes, please drag
Are there
2 new voices in.
Hello,
Hello, Santiago and Xavier. How are y'all doing?
I'm
Hello.
sorry that I'm late. I'm so sorry.
It's fine. We're just doing
Don't
the
worry.
award.
Good.
We're
Okay,
going to
you missed
focus
the
on
boring
that.
category.
Don't worry.
We're
I'm
doing
okay with
best
being late.
music.
I'm okay with being late. You know why? Because I came prepared. All right, I Yeah, came me prepared. too. I'm bringing a little bit of class to this whole
My
endeavor.
God.
This
Good for
this
you.
this is a little
We're
bit
not,
of our.
we're not
so
on
much
video, but
class.
good for
Recording
you.
video.
Well,
we don't have
everyone,
video.
I'm gonna have a bow tie and everything. You know why? Because this is gonna get heated. Okay, we're gonna have a little bit of
Yeah.
arguments, a little bit of tensions, butting heads, and I'm here to be the diplomat, to bring a little bit of peace and tranquility to this whole.
You're the
whole
one that's
spiel.
going to be the
Here's-
diplomat. You're not
Yeah,
going to
the,
yell.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my
The
God,
person
that's
rushing
my
in
bit.
and speaking at a mile a minute is the one that's going to be the diplomat and bring tranquility.
Hey, someone's gonna do it. Listen,
That's-
I didn't want to be the one to do it, but I'm the
Santi.
one that has to be it. Okay.
He's gonna be the Ben
Santi.
Shapiro of the podcast.
Okay,
Take
we need
the
to get
energy
going.
and
I was about to say, moving on from ongoing game, but Destiny 2 was the winner. The 2 runners-up were Apex Legends and Among Us. And the next category will be Best Music. This will be the one that we'll probably have to click on the links to listen to, and it'll get weird for audio listeners, but we'll do what we can. The nominees for Best Music as they stand right now are Doom Eternal, Hades, Risk of Rain 2, Persona 5 Royal, Jackbox Party Pack 7, Ghost Runner, Cyberpunk 2077, Haven, Bugsnax, and Journey to the Savage Planet. Now, right off the bat, since Zara is still not here, do we want to strike Persona 5 Royal from the list? Because I think...
Hey, no, I'm sorry. I'm a huge advocate for Persona 5. I have to
then what about-
twice as hard now.
Okay, then we're going to try to do the quick cuts first. Jackbox Party Pack 7, which Zara nominated only for the Champed Up song, which are good songs.
They
I
are
wanna
good
be
songs.
clear. But
Czar's also not here.
do we want Zara's
Also
not
not
here,
here.
so we want to cut that one. All right. I will strike Jackbox Party Pack 7 from the list. Other ones. Is there any other quick ones? Risk of Rain 2? Was that you? How are we feeling about Risk of Rain 2?
I was not the one that
That was
nominated
a Czar
Screen
thing.
2.
Those
All
are
right,
fine.
then we'll cut Risk of Rain 2 if that was also Zar.
Who did,
Who
did Journey to the Savage Planet?
I did Journey to the Savage Planet. I would like to hold on to that one for a little bit longer.
Okay.
Who did
we'll
Haven?
circle back around to it.
What about
I'm
Ghost
not-
Runner? Who nominated Ghost Runner?
That was
I
me.
assume that was Michael.
Okay.
Mike, how you feeling about Ghost Runner? You want to keep that on
Keep
there
it. Yeah.
for
yeah.
first pass? All right. Cyberpunk. How we feeling about Cyberpunk on first pass?
Keep it there.
All right.
Keep it
rid
there.
of it.
Get rid of it.
All right.
Get rid of it.
Keep it.
Keep
I'm
it.
keeping
it.
Bugsnax on at first pass. Haven.
Who
Bugsnax for
was
Bugsnax.
Haven?
I was
That was
Haven.
Noah.
Okay,
I have not seen Haven, so I need to listen to these songs.
Yeah.
I do as well.
I have not
we'll
listened
listen
to
the
any
Haven
of
songs
these.
real quick. I'm not going to judge it on the art, but cool colors for the.
There's a hit.
You know what? Let's circle to Journey to the Savage Planet. Did anyone else play Journey to the Savage Planet besides me?
I watched you play it.
You actually played part of it, yeah. I finished it later. Listen to that one if you will. I like Journey to the Savage Planet
I'll listen to it.
quite a bit.
Oh no,
Very
I
very
just,
banjo-y.
What I'll say though is that Orb is better than Cyberpunk.
I still am not impressed by the main theme, but the orb is definitely better than the Rebel Path.
I don't think the main theme really plays that much, and it's kind of like on the main menu, like kind of what you load,
Mhm.
and it's like also
You
like,
hear?
Thomas part.
Journey is good. Journey's good.
Do we
Start
want
your
to
journey.
strike Cyberpunk then, since I know at least a few of us weren't very impressed by it?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Are we going off of
Music's
the? Are we
good,
going
not
off of
great.
the original?
Sam.
The original soundtrack, or just in total?
We're going off
Orig-
of the songs that were submitted with the nomination. is how
Gotcha.
we
All right
generally
then,
judge
homie.
this. So I will strike Cyberpunk from the list. Which leaves us
That's
with Doom
fair.
Eternal,
It sounds
Hades.
a little
We
generic.
should listen to Persona 5 Royal because I don't think I have yet.
Oh, you haven't.
The
No,
song
I
is
listened to
good
it
Colors
now.
Flying High and I Believe.
Colors Flying High is primo.
It doesn't help that whenever I click one of these links, all of you are now muted immediately just by how loud the music is.
I don't like I Believe as much as Colors Flying High.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I like the opening a little bit better, at least. The singing doesn't really
I
go.
like it.
Doesn't really work for me though.
All right, we have to cut something. We're at 7 games currently.
How badly do we really want to keep Doom?
Very,
I wanna-
very
I wanna
badly.
keep
I very much want to keep
Eternal.
Doom. Very
Yes.
much.
So good.
Doom's
Okay.
great.
I'm in the minority. Okay.
I think
How about
Risk
some
of Rain can go.
Ghost
Is Risk of Rain
Runner?
gone? Right?
Risk of
Risk of Rain,
gone.
I already cut that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not looking at the corrected list.
Okay, I already cut Risk of Rain. Yeah.
What about
Have
Bug
we
Snacks? Because we
Yeah,
have our
I'm
one song.
looking at
it's
Bug
Bug
Snacks.
Snacks.
There's one song on Bug Snacks.
Jam of a song.
It is a
I
jam
will
of a
say,
song.
I only submitted
Alright.
the one song. The rest of the music in Bug Snacks is very good, actually. I didn't submit it because I was doing it like last minute last night.
What the hell is this game?
Bug Snacks? We're gonna talk more. We're gonna talk more about Bug Snacks later.
No
But
offense.
are we only going off of the songs listed in the Google?
No,
Doc?
we are. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not gonna like truly argue for it. I want to note more than argue that like the rest of the
Yeah.
music in Bug Snacks is pretty good.
Gotcha.
No offense,
Yes,
but
Tommy?
I don't feel strongly for Bug Snacks.
Same. That
I'm not
music
a
it didn't
big fan
catch
of
me
the
as much.
real. I'm not a big fan of the real cutesy sounds.
I mean, I like it. I feel like it fits the game like perfectly, and it's a vibe whenever you play the game. But outside of that, it's
Bug
Yeah, I
Snacks.
think that's
Whoa,
something
it's gone.
we want to consider when we're talking about the music. Are we looking at the music within the context of the game, or just how good it is outside of the game?
I think we should look at it in the context of the game.
I think especially
I-
once we
I-
get down, once again, the picking a
Mhm.
winner, that might become more.
I've
I
stricken
think
Bug Snacks from the list.
both could apply.
Alright.
Both arguments
Yeah.
can apply.
Haven,
I'm not
I
a
feel
fan
like
of
should go
Ghost
as well.
Yeah.
I also
Mm.
personally feel Haven could go.
I
think
it
it's
is
disagree. I think it's very
not
good.
bad.
I don't think it's bad. I think I think Haven's is both songs, or actually both songs that are like Home and Move It Muffin, are weaker than the Orb. And that's the only good song from Ghost Runner that I've
Man,
listened
dude,
to.
I've heard so many songs that sound like the Orb. The Orb is good, but I just
Sorry.
compared to everything else,
yeah.
my personal
What-
tastes like go
okay.
towards like Haven,
So,
Doom Eternal, Hades.
We're choosing best music only with the songs that are here, right? Or
Yeah.
Yes.
Generally, yes. We're gonna try to judge it based off of the songs that were nominated.
okay.
I don't know. My argument for Haven is that Home and Move It Muffin both sound like nice house music, generally speaking. But then like the Orb, like I know what that's for. I guess I don't know what Haven's for.
How far
and
did you get? How far did you get into the songs? Because they have like a
I mean,
hit.
but like we clicked around them. Like we got far enough.
Okay, but like how much? Because
I'm going to be
enough.
honest. I think we should strike both Ghost Runner and Haven from the list.
Here's
I
the
think
thing,
the
I'm
Orb
fine.
is good,
Here's the, I'm
but
fine
it's
with getting
not. It's
Ghost
not
Runner.
amazing.
No, I'm fine. I get the main thing for it. Honestly, my big argument for being Ghost Runner is already gone because I essentially want to make the argument that it's better Cyberpunk music, and it's Cyberpunk.
We agreed on
is
that.
already longer. Yeah, so I'm fine with that. That's all I
I
wanted
don't
to do.
personally agree on that, but that's whatever.
I feel like
yeah,
I
listening
feel
to
like it makes
Haven-
that like synthy, like cyberpunky like style a lot better than 2077's. That was one of the make, but Cyberpunk's already gone, so I'm good with that.
No, I'm okay
Yeah,
with
Haven
Ghost Runner
just
and
sounds a
Haven.
little
Just fine.
generic to me. I was
Alright,
like,
I
I was
will-
listening to Home, and I'm like, it sounds kind of like the backing for like a montage video or something. It didn't seem like I don't know.
It's a lot of ambience.
I get
feel like.
I get a certain vibe to it, and I don't like the vibe.
It sounds
the
like,
vibe.
on the whole, we are settled on axing both Ghost Runner and Haven.
Yep, that's fine.
All right,
Yeah.
fine.
So I
Just
will
X both of those.
strike both of them, which leaves us with 4: Doom Eternal, Hades, Persona 5 Royal, and Journey to the Savage Planet.
I need
Now,
a
Now,
list.
I would like to
Yeah.
say something right now that might get me in some hot water. The music in Hades is very good. It is not that game's strongest point, and I think we should cut it.
I
from
think
this
I
list.
agree. I think I agree. Yep.
Okay, fair enough.
I'd rather cut Journey before Hades.
I would
Also
cut,
agreed.
I would cut
I
Persona.
would cut Doom Eternal before Journey.
I
am
feel
Persona
like we
as
should
well,
cut it
but
because I feel like Doom Eternal and Hades have very similar music, and
they are a little more similar. You're correct.
yeah, and I
than
feel
the
like
rest of the ones on this list.
I feel like Doom does it a lot better in that
Well,
category. in that
I mean,
Uh,
they're similar, but I don't think Hades is
I
going
don't-
for metal.
Yeah, no. You're not going for a metal
Like,
vibe.
They're not going for the same thing. They
Mhm.
overlap. They do overlap a little bit, but I don't think
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
going for the same.
I think
Personally,
Hades
I think-
has a little bit more diversity in its music.
I think my on
Yes, that
here
is
the
true.
one that I would cut Journey. First,
I
out of all these,
Yeah.
I really like that Persona 5 Royal music. I have things to say about
Xavier,
Persona
what-
5
what
Royal,
do you
but
wanna
the
say?
music is not one.
yeah, I like Journeys because for some reason I don't know why, but it sounds like who's the musician in The Last of Us, the first game for The Last of Us? It reminds me of his music.
Oh, Gustavo
Yeah.
Santaola.
Oh,
I butchered his
Gustavo.
name.
Yeah, it's
I
Gustavo.
butchered his last name. But yeah.
But yeah, his music, his is grimmer, but the Journey's
Mhm.
music is using the same instruments like the banjo or whatever guitar.
Yeah, it's banjo,
Guitar.
guitars. It's a lot of
but
that
it's
stuff.
more a little bit uplifting. I feel like Journey should stick.
Yeah, Journeys. It's a it's fun music to explore that planet
I
too.
think Journey is
think-
great with
Mhm.
like in game because it's got a very like it fits the theme perfectly. It's got like the
Yeah.
banjo guitars, very
Yeah, it
simple
fits the vibe
strings.
of that game really well.
I think
But-
it fits the vibe of the game, but I don't like listening to it outside of the game.
That's the
I'm
thing.
I
not
love
a
listening
huge
to it
fan.
outside of the game.
That's
Like
personally.
for Doom Eternal, Hades, Persona 5, those all fit. I believe fit the game perfectly, and I would listen to them a lot outside of the game.
Yeah.
Journey, I would not listen.
to outside of the game.
Are you kidding me? I would listen to main title screen on my way to work with blank expression.
Okay,
See,
I
the
will
pro-
say, main title screen of Doom is
Very
great.
good.
That's like by far the best song in that game, though. Like everything else is not nearly as good as title screen music.
The problem I have with I would listen to this outside is that it kind of boils down to personal preference.
It
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
And I don't think we can judge
That
it.
is
That's
true.
like
That is
what
true.
genre do I like? And so I was
Mhm.
like, I would have listened to Haven and Ghost Runner outside of this, but
I think
Yeah,
it's depending on your mood too.
Most
like,
of the
whatever you're
songs that I
doing.
haven't liked from this list are songs that I don't like because I don't like that genre. Like I don't like metal. I don't like synth. And so I'm
the
not
music
going to
category
like.
boils down to that a lot.
Yeah, that's what this
Yeah,
music
so I'm
category
not
is.
going to like Doom no matter how good it is because I just don't like metal.
Okay, you know what? I have something that might help us. Santiago, please argue to me why Persona 5 Royal is not just a remaster of a game that came out a year previously before.
Ooh, we're getting into
Why
that
it's not a
now?
remaster?
Oh
We're
boy.
getting into that now. Argue to me why
Okay.
this
Oh,
deserves to be its own brand new game and is not just a remaster.
I'll listening. But I have to go to the bathroom. I'll be back.
I want to
Okay,
listen.
a remaster is by definition of a remaster is you just create update the base game. You just update it into a brand new format, like updated graphics, maybe add a little feature here and there. Persona 5 Royal adds a whole different. I understand what people say when it's like a remaster, and honestly I somewhat agree. Like I would not count it as a standalone game entirely. Like Spider-Man Miles Morales, I would not count that as a standalone game either. It's entirely
we are
because.
counting it. We'll have to talk about that
I
later.
would
Oh
definitely.
gosh, this is going to be another heated topic. Okay, so but it adds brand new songs, it adds all new characters, it adds a whole new
I
palace.
don't think adding songs is good enough criteria for it not being the same game.
Okay,
personally.
added more
I-
palaces,
I-
added more characters.
Okay.
We're talking about
And-
music category right now.
Yeah, we're talking about music.
Yeah, I
now.
mean, I'm purely arguing this now in the context of is it a remaster of a game and should we discount it because it's a remaster of a 2019 game?
Here's
That's
my
what I argue
here's
for
my
that.
thing.
Wait,
I
whoa,
think
wait.
my
27.
personal argument for it, or like
Let Michael
kind
go,
of
then we'll
against
go.
it. I don't know if there's anything that you can say that would make me think it is not both just like a remaster and also just DLC. Isn't the majority of that new content just stuff you do after you beat the campaign?
The best part is
So it could just have been DLC to Persona 5.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. It's gone. How about
Well,
that?
here's the thing about that.
Xavier, yes.
Because if you're saying that it's not a new game, but also saying that it's
It got a bit of
strictly
updated
music-
graphics.
Okay, but did it add new songs?
It
And are
added
these new songs?
it added other new
I-
stuff,
I
like
think
added new
that-
characters,
that-
new story bits, new other.
Well, since
things.
we're not since we're not talking about the best game, and
No,
we should
right now,
No.
I explicitly
This
want to
is-
have the argument of is this just a remaster and should we disqualify it for that reason?
I
We're
feel like
talking
this is
about
an
the
argument we
music.
should have had
That's the thing.
before the podcast.
Yeah.
No, we need to have it on the
No,
podcast.
this is on the
This is on the
podcast.
podcast.
No, yeah.
But Tommy,
Yeah,
what are you gonna
that's
say? Tommy, what are you gonna say?
I was gonna say music doesn't matter because right now we're arguing in terms of the game. That's
No,
still Xavier.
no,
Yes,
it
other
we
thing
have
is-
to
put it into a
on the
subject.
music category.
No,
But
it
we have entered
matters.
into
Like,
we've put a
as
pin
a
in the music
game,
and have
yeah.
moved on.
as a
okay,
game,
alright.
does
But
this
if-
qualify?
If we are
That's
talking
true.
about stuff like this, okay, can someone tell me what's the difference between the new Animal Crossing and the old one? What's the biggest
Okay.
changes?
No, that's not
All
the
right,
same.
hey,
No,
everybody,
It
everybody.
is
Same
so
game.
similar.
That's
It is.
that's
I will fight
look,
you.
that's
It is
complete bullshit,
not.
and we're not even gonna get into that. Honestly,
Hon-
like it's very clearly a new game. I'm not even gonna entertain that point.
Honestly,
my thing is that Santi conceded essentially.
He did at the
Yeah.
beginning of his argument. He
Oh, yeah,
conceded.
like
Yeah,
I
he
fully
conceded.
like I was fully happy paying. Like I knew what it was. I knew I was getting into. I was completely fine with paying $60 for that because I absolutely love the game, and I completely understand why people wouldn't do that because it's.
Oh, I'm not arguing that it's not good. I'm not trying
Oh,
to
yeah,
get
no.
at that point.
But yeah,
No,
no,
yeah,
I definitely like. I can definitely see it being like a remaster, and I definitely could see that stuff being DLC.
Then
Yeah.
I guess
Cool,
we
then
will
it's gone.
strike
Yeah.
it from the list.
Okay.
But okay,
Sorry, sorry.
my question to rules lawyer Enoch, because it's being stricken in the way it is, does that strike it from everything else as well?
Yes.
I would say yes because we conceded that it is just a
yes.
remaster. It then strikes it from all future categories.
what
Understood.
about
So
the-
what does that strike it from? That takes it out of what art style? Takes it out of
Just everything else that
Every,
everything else that was
every other
yeah.
category is
Yeah.
nominated in. It's stricken from.
Gameplay.
If we've decided it is a
It's-
remaster, it is gone completely.
It's gone.
Yeah, it's even in Game of the Year.
Would that count for the new Final Fantasy 2? Like the
No.
remake?
No.
Oh?
I would
And the
argue Final Fantasy VII Remake is such a vastly different game
Okay.
from the original one
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
Yeah,
remake
absolutely.
is not the same as remaster.
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
it fulfills
understood.
all the necessary requirements.
just
for,
checking
it's a
where
different
the-
game.
where
it
the-
plays
Yeah.
completely
No,
differently.
Also, there has been so much more time between Final Fantasy VII, the
Just-
original, and
just
the remake,
checking
whereas
where-
Persona
where-
is
where-
only 1 year.
No.
To,
Persona 5 came out 2017. Persona 5 Royale came out
3
this
years
year.
then.
3 years.
Final
So,
Fantasy came out in like the 90s.
Yes.
Santi, to your question, yeah, it is the argument of remaster versus remake, but
Gotcha.
also if you want to argue, like you can totally argue on here. And
Oh
that's
no,
where
I agree with you guys. I was just checking like where it like because I completely
Mm-hmm.
like know that from the new Final Fantasy
Okay.
game changes so many things and
Exactly, yeah. It's a
and
completely
it
different
still
game.
keeps the heart of the old game.
Mhm.
And yeah, I
Man.
can definitely see like
Alright.
well yeah.
Zara's gonna be so mad.
Sorry, Zara, I tried, but you know
Zara,
No,
if Zara was here, he could have
I-
argued it. But
Zar
So,
ain't here.
this was going to be
He's
my
just sweet.
backup to Santi conceding, is that in previous conversations with Zar also conceded.
All right. Let's move on.
all right.
Yeah,
So,
we conceded
let's-
less.
We
have to
are
choose.
at our final 3 in the music now that we have exited the subcategory of does Persona 5 Royal count at all. So we have Doom Eternal, Hades, and Journey to the Savage Planet are our 3 remaining contenders.
I thought we struck Journey.
No, we didn't.
No.
No,
No.
Michael wanted to
I wanna
strike
I wanna
Journey.
strike
Michael
Journey
wanted
now.
to, and I instead went with
Then we got into Persona 5 Royal. Yeah.
Well, it's not. We can't strike it. It's just gonna be either a runner-up or the winner.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is now one of the runners-up or the winner.
Fine with.
Probably just the runner-up, though, considering that we were just talking about striking it before talking
It
about.
does seem
Persona.
like there is more support for Hades and Doom Eternal. I will allow it. To, I will concede that Journey to the Savage Planet is one of the runners-up, and now it goes to
Okay.
Doom and Hades. And I absolutely would throw my support behind Hades before I threw it before Doom for music.
I as well.
Same.
I'm fair with that.
I
Yeah.
will throw my support behind Hades.
I think
Yeah, I think Hades does win best
Alright.
OST.
That's enough people. Hades is the winner.
No argument.
damn it.
Hades.
Damn
The
it.
sweep begins. Hades, first place.
I love talking
wanna-
about music and then going on a like we talk more about Persona.
I wanted
Mhm.
Doom, Hades, and then Journey, but you know what? All right, fine.
Again, the
There's
runners-up
no
aren't like
ranking.
ranked; they're
I
just both
know.
runners-up.
I know.
So Hades is the winner of best music, and then Doom Eternal and Journey to the Savage Planet are the runners-up. Moving on to best art. I need to message Jacob real quick because I told him I would when it was time to do this because he wanted
Okay,
to
I'm
be
ready.
part of this one.
I needed water.
ready.
It's fine. I'll skip water.
That Persona 5 Royal argument, that took a lot less time than I thought it would coming into this. I thought
Me
that was going
too.
to be a whole thing.
Alright, so-
While
Well,
I
now that makes
run-
every other category just a tiny bit easier because now we don't even have to talk about it.
Yeah, no, because
Sarah's gonna be so pissed.
if we were talking about Persona 5 Royal with art, I would be fighting for that one.
Mhm.
I just love the
Well,
art style.
it's not in it anymore, so,
So it's gonna be a lot easier to
I
choose.
completely struck. All right.
Wow.
Is Jacob
While I wait,
in our general chat?
I messaged Jacob. If he jumps in, I'll pull him in. But while we wait for him, I will run through all of the nominees for the best
said-
art category. All right. Oh, sweet.
There we go. Perfect timing,
Hello,
Jacob.
Jacob. Welcome.
Hey, Jacob.
Hello.
You just
Shall,
missed
shall we?
Best music.
Best music
Persona 5 Royal
was
is a remake. That's what you missed. Or it's a remake. It's a remake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That
Even I
was the
said
main
it wrong.
takeaway from best music.
All right.
It's
So
no
the
longer in
nominees.
consideration for any other categories.
The nominees for best art are Doom Eternal, Hades, The Last of Us Part 2, Post Void, Spiritfarer, Ghost of Tsushima, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Animal Crossing New Horizons, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Astro's Playroom, Cardo, Journey to the Savage Planet, Kunai, and Creature from the Well.
Oh, I'm not looking at an updated list.
No, you're not.
Let me.
Probably
wait,
have
I
that
got.
I gotta look at the art style for some
I
reason.
gotta-
Who nominated
Yeah, I gotta look
Post
at
Void?
Say that
Did
again.
anyone
Who
here
nominated what?
nominate Post Void?
Post Void? Oh yes, I did.
I
Okay.
want to get
I
rid of
think
it.
that's
I
ugly.
want to. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I
I
want to
it's
get
understand
rid
what
of
it's
okay.
going for, but I think it's ugly anyway.
Yeah, I think it's
I
ugly.
don't like look.
That's
I
fine.
don't like
It
looking
hurts
at
my
it.
eyes.
Looks like a fever
I
dream.
know it's that's fine.
Yeah, it's like a surreal fever dream nightmare
Oh,
world. And I like that.
he's gone.
Oh,
It's
no.
not the most beautiful one, but it
Oh.
looks nice.
Oh
it's
Lord! It
I
looks like
remember watching some
somebody
gameplay
put
of
it
it.
into Photoshop and turned the saturation up to 600.
That game
It
is
looks
truly
cool.
hard to watch.
My eyes.
I
They
understand
hurt.
what that game is trying to go for. I
Yeah.
just
It wants
don't
to-
think it was worth it.
Oh no, I just
Yeah,
wanted to
it-
mention it.
You know, it's
Just
it's
get it out.
interesting.
Okay.
The problem is that I feel like Acid Core isn't a good aesthetic.
No.
Yeah.
Spiritfarer is pretty. I'm looking at it right now. It is
I really-
pretty.
It's really
It is very pretty.
I
very
will go
pretty.
ahead and just remove Spider-Man from this list. I just want to
Whoa,
say
whoa, whoa.
I think that
Don't
game
remove
is
Spider-Man.
I think it should
No.
be
out of,
Spider-Man.
I think it
out
should
of the
be
nominees
removed. I
here.
think it should be
I do think it should be removed. I will say it's a very pretty game. They've done a lot, especially with all the fancy lighting effects and all that. All Miles suits look great. The Venom electric blast that he has are awesome. I don't think among these other contenders, Spider-Man Miles Morales truly holds up. It's a very pretty game that I love a lot, but I
Sad
do
to
think
see
it
it
should be
go.
removed.
Can we?
As Spider-Man guy, I think it should be removed.
It's more
You
of
know,
a DLC.
Spider-Man
not
guy
DLC.
has
It's
okay,
not
know, I
a
know.
DLC.
I know,
Let's
but
not
like,
get
and
into
I will-
that argument.
Gladly
It's
argue
not
that,
DLC,
but
it
it's
is-
not
it's a
DLC.
standalone.
I can't wait for that one. I'll sit and watch.
I'm not sure I'm going to because it definitely not happening.
I mean, it's not on this one at least.
Enid,
Can we
how do you-
can we define what like sorry, but can we define like best art? Like art and like is it like graphics? Are we doing like
This-
design style or
This is
It's
always
yeah,
the
a little
thing.
bit of
It's a bit of
everything.
everything.
Okay,
That's
okay.
my
This
so
is
that's my
terms-
issue
Art direction.
got
Uh-huh.
you?
because if you look at best art as most realistic, obviously something like
Wow,
Animal
yeah.
Crossing or Shape or Spiritfarer isn't going to get it, and it
No,
would go
but
to
we're
the
not
last.
looking at it that way.
Yeah, that's the thing with art is it's almost as subjective as music.
Yeah, I
Music's
think
more
that
subjective, but
I think best
No,
art should
yes.
apply to the games that take its art direction and utilizes it in like a unique way.
Mhm.
And just
Yeah.
presents
they're trying
convincingly
to make the art
presents its
part of
world
it.
to the player and does it very convincingly.
Okay.
Very
Yeah.
well said, Noah. I completely agree. Yes, Xavier.
Which is why I think Animal Crossing New Horizons is the best, but we'll save that for
also,
later.
I'm just making sure we're not gonna do like most beautiful out of the keg. That's
Not really, no.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I mean,
I-
we're probably going to end up arguing this game is the prettiest game, but that's not really what we're going. Exactly where we're going.
Can
Michael,
we,
what
can we
do we-
strike
Post Void is
just in
out.
terms of like one to strike Astro's Playroom? I didn't really get that art style. Didn't really.
I was
catch me
just
as, like,
gonna
main
say
Yeah.
game.
that.
Yeah.
I was
I
just
like
gonna
it,
say
but,
that.
There's a
I
bunch
don't
of stuff
think
on here
compares.
that I just want to say some piece on, and then I'll cut it. I'll gladly cut Astro's Playroom. That game's just very cute.
I
It's very
love it. I
cute.
love it.
Okay.
I love it.
Good job.
Absolutely.
It's cute.
Absolutely.
It looks really good. Even like there's like I think ray tracing effects. Like it's a very pretty game. It's very cute, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, Enoch,
There
you gotta
are
choose
other
like
games-
one to
Yeah,
go with.
eh.
You gotta
Oh,
choose
yeah,
like
there-
one to go with.
Oh, and I know what I'm going with. The similar vein.
Enoch
I will,
is fully ready to kill his children. Like he
All
is
right,
all
let's get,
on
let's
Okay.
get the honorable mentions
Yes,
out
I
of the
will-
way. Let's get the honorable mentions.
I will get
out
my
of the way.
honorable mentions of Cardo, Journey to the Savage Planet, Kunai, and Creature from the Well, all which I think are very attractive games. I am the one who put all of these on the list. Cardo is super cute. If you've ever played like table game Carcassonne, it's like you move the tiles around
You
to
move
make
the map.
your own map as you play. And I will talk more about that game probably later in other categories. It's similarly like cutesy, kind of like paper-esque game a lot of the time. I think it's very good, but I will cut it. Journey to the Savage Planet, I think, has a similar, not exactly similar, but where Post Void was kind of going for being ugly. Journey to the Savage Planet kind of does that too, but I think a little more successfully. Like Journey to the Savage Planet is very colorful in a kind of like a lot of it is weird, ugly colors, but it's a weird, ugly planet, and I think it pulls that off well. But it's not. It doesn't blow me away like some of the other games on this list do. So
It almost gives me like a Borderlands vibe with the color combinations and creatures. Not obviously it's not cel shaded, but just the way that they're like, you know what? We're gonna make this thing bright pink. Don't ask why.
Yeah, that's all very vivid and bright. Kunai is a very just good like pixel art. I think it makes great use of colors in Kunai,
Pixel art is
but I
always
don't
nice to see.
have much more. Like it's good pixel art, good for it. Uses colors well, but other than that, I'm going to strike it. And Creature from the Well is maybe my favorite out of those four. It is kind of the whenever a video game is like we want to look like a comic book, usually goes for something like Creature in the Well. But I think Creature in the Well has better art direction than most of those do. Like the desert that the main town is in is all very cool. Even in the dungeon of the wells, I think it's all very good. I'll have more to say about Creature in the Well similarly in other categories, but I will strike it from the list at this time.
Okay.
So
All right,
what
so
about
should we talk
The
about
Last
should we
of
talk
Us?
about Animal Crossing? No, I was going to say we should talk about Animal Crossing New Horizons first, so we can vote it off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
agreed.
Bryn,
Why do you
Bryn,
guys want
please go with
Okay.
Animal Crossing. Please explain.
Okay. Animal Crossing is meant to be a pretty game or like a cutesy game. That's what it goes for. It accomplishes that very well. And if you look over the past Animal Crossing games, it definitely stands out as the best looking one. And the art style for Animal Crossing works really well for it. But they also managed to make a lot of things look very, very pretty, even in this bit more simpler art style. It's more art than it is like it's not going for stellar graphics, it's going for stellar art, if that makes any sense.
No, being
Like
cutesy in the way that Animal Crossing is still takes a lot of work to pull off successfully, and it does do that very well. It nails the like toy-esque vibe that it sort of goes for. Not necessarily toy.
and
I
you
think
and
know
when
what
you
I'm
see
getting at.
something from Animal Crossing, you know it's from Animal Crossing.
Right.
I think you
The-
say that
like,
about a lot of
You
these
art
see it
games.
and you're like,
very-
yes, Animal Crossing.
Like a lot of
Bam.
these games, you can be
Also
like,
the-
"Oh, hey, look, that's Doom, that's Hades." That's
Yes,
like,
but-
that's
Also, the fish just look very, very good. Like if you go into
I
the
will say
museum,
the fish
the museum
and
is the
bugs
most
in no way
gorgeous
match the
place.
cutesy aesthetic.
Yeah, no, I was about
No,
to say,
they're-
like, once I got that, like,
they're
snapping
pretty
turtle,
realistic
that does
fish
not
and
look
bugs,
cutesy. Looks like it's gonna bite
But
my arm
go
off.
into the museum and tell me that Animal Crossing is not beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I don't think it's hard to pull off.
So
I would argue that it is hard to pull off.
I
but
would disagree.
It's more simplistic, I feel.
That
It is,
isn't
but
an
it's
argument.
Oh no, it's still great.
There
It's,
are-
it does
games
what
have
it does
won-
really well.
Games have done very well in this category and have won this category for simpler art than Animal Crossing. If you remember Greece a few years
No, yeah,
back.
I wouldn't argue that was simpler necessarily.
I don't
but-
think that was. I think that was more complicated than that.
I need to
I will-
once again reiterate that simplicity for whatever category is never an argument.
Yeah, no.
Just because something's
That's-
maybe harder to pull off. All right, I will. Let's sort of settle this. The Last of Us Part 2, I want to strike from the list. It's a gorgeous
Yeah.
game. I don't think it deserves to win this category.
If we're going off of what
if we're
Noah
just going
says-
by fidelity, it wins hands down. But we're not going by fidelity.
Yeah.
I feel like if
Yeah.
we're going off of
Fair.
what Noah says, I would disagree. Because
I think in every way, Ghost of Tsushima nails its art direction better than Last of Us.
Okay,
Part
I
2.
That's
agree.
what I was
I
gonna
would
think,
agree
yeah.
I
with the
agree.
same thing. Yes, I'd
Okay,
say
I will
Ghost of
strike Last of Us
Tsushima
Part 2
does
then.
a much better job of pulling you into its world through its art style than Last of Us Part 2 does.
They both kind of had that same like going for like the high fidelity look, and out of those two, I would definitely say I prefer.
Ghost
I'm
of Ghost of
stricken it for the
Tsushima looks gorgeous.
Personally,
That's
I
absolutely
feel
beautiful.
like Doom should go.
I was gonna say that as
I
I think
also
that
feel
Doom's also
Doom
one of
should
the ones.
go.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
a big point on Doom.
Yep.
The only time I ever appreciated the art is in a glory kill, and that doesn't happen enough. And I've seen it. There's only so many you can do. You know. It's
All
like,
right, I will
oh,
strike Doom Eternal from the list.
We're down to
We haven't talked
Hades,
about.
Hades, Spiritfarer, Ghost of Tsushima, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and Animal Crossing: New Horizons.
Who here's played Ori?
I have played through that game.
It's
very
Please
absolutely
talk about Ori,
beautiful.
Michael.
Okay, talk about Ori.
Ori, the art style of Ori, like even like with the last game, it's always been beautiful. Like the animations that it goes through, the cartoon look it's going for, and like the very like vivid backgrounds and how everything kind of like I don't know how to describe it. Like I mean, we can all pull up Ori. Like that's the good thing about art and doing this at home. We can all like Google images
Easy to look
of
at.
it. Easy to look at.
I love
It-
the
it-
color palette.
the color palette is stunning, and it does a really good job of like the different areas of like each different zone in that game has like its own kind of unique color palette and aesthetic to it. I think that's one of like the jobs it does really well. And I think that also just the character of Ori and how everything flows. Also, this is a bit more of a tech thing, but like it can run at like 4K 120 frames a second, which is stunning to watch and look at. And it is just beautiful when everything flows and like the combat gets going and all like the particle effects are going everywhere. It is a masterpiece to look.
Yeah,
think-
it's like,
that is very
it's like
pretty.
impressionist
That is pretty.
paintings, like in motion.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah,
so,
it kind of
so
is.
pretty and so intricate. And
Some of
I
those
haven't even
games,
played
like,
this
just-
game, but I'm like fully
Yeah,
on board.
I like it. It's for
Yeah,
being like
yeah.
kind of that
I
cartoony
agree.
thing is very intricate, and you can very pick out like the fine details of
Yeah,
things.
I'm
I do
into this art style so much.
Ori
Like,
is high
think
up on
that
the list.
leaves-
top 3.
I think that leaves
Yeah,
a game
I
that I like
wanted-
very much, but I think Spiritfarer can be struck from the list because I don't think it really. It's very pretty. I don't think it stacks up to the rest of these as
Yeah,
well.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
Ori is doing what Spiritfarer wanted to do, but better.
I
Yeah,
disagree with
Spiritfarer
that.
is-
I don't think they're
disagree
going
with
for the
that
same
statement.
thing.
I
disagree with that statement.
harshly
They're not
disagree
going
with
for
that
the
It's
same
very
statement.
pretty. They're
Because-
both
Tommy,
kind
what-
of
Tommy,
these
what do you-
pretty
Aesthetic of
painterly
what-
styles.
All right, Tommy, what do you want to say about Spiritfarer? You had a look on your face when I said that.
It was just the argument that made me upset because they're not at all the
Oh,
same.
okay. No, they're not.
I agree.
No,
No, yeah,
I
they're definitely
think
not.
Spiritfarer's hand
Spiritfarer-
animated,
Both
beautiful.
games have
Yeah,
both games have
Spiritfarer-
different like goals on
Okay,
how they're gonna-
Tommy, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, Spiritfarer is as like a 2D animation is like beautiful to look at. However, like Ori is like much more relies on glow effects and stuff like that, and so it's like they're very just separate styles in general. I would argue.
Yeah, they're
But
definitely.
I do
separate
agree that Spiritfarer is pretty, but it doesn't. It's gorgeous, but it doesn't like make me go wow. So like,
Yeah, Ori makes me go.
It doesn't
"Wow."
evoke. It doesn't evoke the Owen Wilson inside of you.
I will strike Spiritfarer from the list then.
So
kill
That
Animal
leads us
Crossing.
with Hades,
Kill
Yeah,
Animal
I
Crossing.
think- I think we- I
Tsushima,
think we
Tsushima,
Ori and the
Ori,
Wisps, and
Animal
Animal
Crossing.
Crossing.
I think cut Animal Crossing out of these 4.
Mhm.
why do you guys always cut the games that I like?
Yeah,
You're going to get all
I
these
think Animal
3.
Crossing should be
Bryn, you
cut.
have a very specific
like how
palette,
Brit's
and
saying that, like,
unfortunately,
games we
it
like
doesn't
haven't
always
been
align
cut.
with us.
Right. I
Fine,
mean, between Ori and Animal,
Alright.
I have to go with Ori.
fine.
Animal
I do have
Crossing
to
is
say
gone from
Ori
the
is
list.
gorgeous.
So
That leaves us with Hades, Ghost of Tsushima, and Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
Hades
Oh,
wins.
yeah.
I
I
don't.
don't- hold
know.
on.
Such-
I disagree.
All such
Ori is
hard
close.
choices.
Ori is high up
Hold on.
there. All these are hard choices.
These are
These
very
are
hard
hard
choices. This one.
choices.
These
I
are
myself,
quite
am
difficult.
extremely partial to Hades just because I love a nice stylized, very like character driven art that has like so much little details put into like each little sprite, even though they're not giving like so many looks at each different character, but the looks that they do give you at each character are so effective.
I would like for a minute to talk about Ghost of Tsushima because I only briefly mentioned it in the context of I think it doing it better than The Last of Us. Every second I played Ghost of Tsushima, I was thinking about how gorgeous that game was. Like there was never a point where I just like sort of was like playing the game, doing whatever. I was always going Owen Wilson, wow, at like every single second that I played that game. Like just riding through the forest is fun because it all just looks fantastic. I think it doesn't have as high a fidelity as Last of Us Part 2 did, because Last of Us Part 2 was, you know, a single player linear game. You can do higher fidelity in that. Ghost of Tsushima was open world. But I think it nailed its direction better, and that every single thing from like the flowers and like the fields, like the actual overworld, the UI design, like the text, literally everything in that game fits together so well. Yes, Tommy.
Oh, I was gonna. That was for like an end of your point type thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll finish what I was saying. Where was I going? Oh, one thing I love that this game does is that as you are just going through the world, unless you're in combat, the UI just totally fades away. So you are only ever on Tsushima Island, like only ever looking at the landscape, which is fantastic. And as soon as you need something, the UI pops up and it'll show it to you. But the UI is really good. It's mostly unobtrusive, out of the way. It's very clear, very readable. The map of the world is this beautiful, like ink brush sort of like painted map that reveals itself over time in like different shades of black. It's very pretty. All of the art in this game, there's side quests where like storytellers will tell you about things, and it's these super detailed ink paintings that are very like even animated very well of revealing things. I think Ghost of Tsushima just at every single point nails its art so hard.
I would put Ghost of Tsushima above Hades in a heartbeat because I am a sucker for
I would as well,
environment.
personally.
How
I
And
dare.
think-
Yeah, I was gonna say
It-
Hades is great.
y'all's arguments for Ghosts and Ori have like made me say like, okay, Hades I think can go. Hades is wonderful, but it
Yeah.
can
Well,
go.
it's
Hades
Hades
is in the top 3.
runner up.
Yeah,
We don't
it's,
have to
it's
cut
one
it.
of
It's
the
runner up.
runner-ups.
It's
It's not
runner-up.
cut up.
Oh, okay.
So-
I
It's not getting
So
cut.
now it's
So
just
The two, the
Tommy
two.
or Tommy. What do you want to say something?
Well, my baby was just shot, so give me a minute while I mourn.
So was
but-
mine. So
Yeah, but nobody cares.
why do you guys mock my interest?
I think
It's okay,
yeah,
Bryn.
Ghost
No,
Ori-
my question was something you told me about Ghost, and I do want Ghost to win, but I do feel like I need to bring it up. I feel like it does have beautiful particle effects. It's kind of gorgeous, but haven't you also argued that it suffers from the near obsessive use of particle effects?
Early in the game, yes, there were points where like it was a little overwhelming. But actually, like right after I mentioned that, and we like went home for the break, we parted ways. The game got so much better about limiting the particle effects. It's sort of like in the opening area when it's really trying to impress you. I do think it overdoes it sometimes with like too many leaves floating around. But I also feel like that's a very minor nitpick of like every once in a while there's a lot of leaves, and that's early in the game. Later in the game, in the other areas, I never had any of those issues.
So it looks like we're coming down to an argument of which style we prefer.
Yeah, Ori versus Ghost.
Usually comes down to that.
I honestly would say Ghost would come in first, in my opinion, because based off the fact that Ghost of Tsushima was brand new and it was one of the first. It was like
That
came
is
out of
true.
nowhere. And Ori, this was Ori the Will of the Wisps is a sequel, and I fully like if this was the first Ori and the Will of the Wisps game, I would
'cause
probably
it's
choose
Ori and
that.
the Blind Forest was the original.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that's the thing. It was a very similar art style, and I think they improved it on it in every single way possible. But Ghost of Tsushima was an absolute surprise to me. It was brand
Mhm.
new. Like I was getting drowned out with all the open world games and them doing the same thing over and over and over.
No,
and
it doesn't
over
look
again.
like any other open world game.
Exactly. Like I was playing Odyssey the other day, and I had to travel for like 5 miles before I'm like, oh look, there's a statue of Zeus. Cool. Let me travel for 5 more miles. And Ghost of Tsushima, I would just be walking around, and then it opens up to this like field with just beautiful flowers and a lone cherry blossom in the distance with like the moonlight shining on it. That wasn't planned at all. It was just I just stumbled upon it, and like I go past that, and then there's like these stone structures with like a battle that just took place with swords in the ground. Each location has a purpose and has a story, and I love every second of it. It makes me actually want to stop and like if I was there, like take out like a camera and take
No,
a picture.
frequently when I played, I would think, in real life, if I died here, I'd be happy.
I have a question.
Looking at Ghost of Tsushima. Oh, go on, Michael.
I
Go
saw
on.
Tommy like explode in his chair during what Santiago was saying at one point, so I want to hear what
I think I know what
that
he
was
had
all
issue
about.
with. Something got away from the point that I think he had issue with, but yes, go on, Tommy.
Oh, I don't have issues with this point. I wanted to go fields with flowers in Ghost of Tsushima. Holy fuck, amazing.
Oh,
There
okay.
there was also a point at it is the final fight essentially in the game, and Enoch was playing and I was watching, and so I didn't
Oh,
say
yeah.
anything, so I had to keep it inside. But I was like, if I had pearls, I would have been clutching them, because in my head I was thinking, damn, Mr. or Mrs. Art Designer, holy fuck, you did amazing. This is
Yeah,
awesome.
that last fight's gorgeous.
So I'm
Emotionally
hearing a lot
as
of
well
love. I'm hearing a lot of love for Ghosts.
It seems like Ghost is
Yeah.
probably taken it at this
Yeah.
point.
Ghost
I
of
do want to say
Tsushima,
like one
looking
final
at it,
piece
I
on
would
Ori.
be constantly taking
Oh yeah,
screenshots.
absolutely. Say a
I
final
want to say
piece.
final piece. I do really want to make sure I touch on the uniqueness that it's able to bring to the different areas while still fitting into the same art style. Like that's one of the things that it's hard to tell from like just looking at the pictures, but because it's all one like giant map that you go through to different areas. And really, like, each area is like very unique on its feel of it, but still doing the same art style. Like at the very bottom, there's a cave section where it's all about like the lighting and the darkness is like surrounding you, and you have to like hop from like lights to lights to make sure that the darkness doesn't close in, and it, like feels very tense and enclosed. And then you go up on the map, and there's a beautiful like lake area with like all these like wonderful pinks and like purples and like flowers, and is like running between lakes and like jumping through waterfalls. And then there's like a winter snow map where it's all about ice and cold and fire, and it's like the way it's able to connect all the pieces while still being in the same art style, I think it does very well.
Sounds like that's
I
something that
definitely
both
agree
it
that
and
it's-
and
this is a
Tsushima did well.
gorgeous
'Cause there's every different point on the island. Tsushima is very different from each other and like visually distinctive. Like you can know where you are just based on looking around you. So it sounds like they both did that really well.
I think Ghost of Tsushima should take it, although I do think Ori is beautiful. They're both beautiful. For me, it comes down to which game would I be taking more screenshots of, and it would definitely be Ghost.
That's a good
All
point.
right.
That is one of my measurements for the art of a game is
And
how
Ori.
badly do I want to draw this.
I think that's a fair point. And
Alright.
I'm go Ghost Shoot Me.
And with that, Ghost of Tsushima has won the best art category, followed by runners-up Hades and Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
Yay.
Satisfied.
Ooh.
I am also
think
very
this is-
satisfied. I was really,
think this
I
was
like
the
really
least
wanted Ghost to win that
divisive-
category.
This was the least divisive segment we've had so far.
And it was on art. Holy crap.
And it was on art.
Impressive, actually.
Remember?
Okay.
Remember Red Dead?
Oh god.
Oh
Dang,
man,
I'm gonna have to go back and watch these past couple categories if you're saying that one was the least divisive.
Oh, by far the least divisive.
Dude, you should have seen the music one. Oh Lord.
I'm really glad that
We got
Hades got
heated.
music. I was happy to see that one. All right, so
let's not rehash it.
Yes, we are moving on to best storytelling is our next category.
Seems like another one where you're gonna have to like pick one, Enoch.
Shoot, who's gonna argue for Yakuza? Who's played Yakuza?
That's Noah, right?
I've seen games.
All right, let me run through all the nominees real quick before we start striking things. Let's see. So the nominees for best storytelling are Hades, The Last of Us Part 2, Persona 5 Royal, Wasteland 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Ghost of Tsushima, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Yakuza Like a Dragon, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Bug Snacks, and I'm just going to strike Carter right now. I'm not even going to say anything about it.
Please.
Honored to be nominated? Question mark.
is the
Was it
story of
nominated? It
Bug
was barely
Snacks?
here.
Bug
Okay.
Snacks, I'll get into it a little bit. Bug Snacks has a sort of Pixar-esque quality of it seems like it's a very jokey kids thing, and then it has some very like mature real themes. So it's like it's goofy. It's like you're eating a Strabby. It's a strawberry with eyes that walks around and goes Strabby, 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 and like it's very goofy. But then also like you're sort of trying to get everyone back into this central town and doing like whatever quest they have for them. And there's like one that's like, oh, him and his wife separated because they were like having some issues. And it's like it's kind of funny, but it's also just like it's very real. And like you find out like he really misses her. He's just kind of too stubborn to like admit it and talk to her, and so you have to do that with them. And it's all actually very sweet and surprisingly in depth for a game about eating bugs and then having body parts that turn into food. I don't want to cut it quite yet, but it is.
There's also like
impressive.
a kind of like deep overarching mystery over the what is going on.
Yeah, where
But
did the
this is gonna
founder of
be
the
a
island
difficult
go?
wait. Oh, okay.
If there's one thing I've really loved about the current trends in like cute media, i.e., like Steven Universe, Gravity Falls type stuff, it's starting off as something very cute and childlike, but then getting so dark and deep. That is
one of
such a
my
good trend.
favorite
Early on in Bug
things.
Snacks.
Oh man, that's one.
I will
can
go
you-
to. I'm trying to do some more like quick knockoffs before we get into any more discussions. Anyone here nominate Wasteland 3?
I did.
Do you want to keep Wasteland 3? What's the rest of this here? We're here. We'll keep it for first pass, then we'll circle back around.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot to take Persona 5 Royal off this list. I will take that off real quick.
No, here's my argument why Persona. I'm just messing with you. Go ahead.
I will say right now, I do not think The Last of Us Part 2 should win, but I do want to talk about The Last of Us
Oh
Part
yeah,
2.
definitely.
I do as
Let's
well.
talk about it.
What about not right now? I'm gonna Cyberpunk. How
Keep
strongly do people want to keep
I
Cyberpunk?
want you to keep it. Yeah.
Keep it.
Okay. It sounds like
Hmm.
we're. What about Ori and the Will of the Wisps?
Wait, Michael's. Does anybody else know the story of
Pretty
it?
sure Michael's the only one.
Michael's maybe having some technical issues. I don't know.
You want to move on?
I
then?
will leave a question mark by it for now until such time as Michael jumps back in. Noah, talk about Yakuza Like a Dragon.
All right. So Yakuza Like a Dragon. It's like its story. It's separate from the other Yakuza games. It follows like Ichiban Kasuga, and he really likes Dragon Quest like a lot. And there's a lot of Dragon Quest references in that game. And he's a character that is put into a Yakuza. He joins a Yakuza at like a young age because his life was saved by his gosh darn dogs.
That's like the Japanese mafia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the
Okay.
Yakuza, not a
The
Yakuza. I'm just joining a
Yeah,
mafia, you
yes.
know.
So his life was saved by a guy named I think it is his name is Arasaka, and he saved his life, and he's like has this feeling of debt owed to him, and so he's worked for his Yakuza boss for several years, and then eventually a murder charge is brought onto one of the members of the Yakuza, and Arasaka is like, or Awakawa is like, hey, Ichiban, I need you to take the fall for this in order to save the reputation of our clan. And Ichiban goes head first, like, yes, I will do this for you because I owe so much to you. And he goes to jail for 18 years in prison. And then when he gets out, everything changes. His boss hates him now. His boss is straight up just like actually like tries to kill him at one point. This happens very early in the game, so it's not really a huge spoiler. And eventually, him trying to kill Ichiban and lands him in this like dumpster area where a bunch of homeless people live, and he meets this guy named Nanba, who is a nurse, and he takes care of him, and he tries to help him go through his Ichiban's new life as a homeless man, trying to find work, trying to find money to survive and live.
If I may redirect this a little bit, so what would you say this game does well in terms of its storytelling, like
I
its
think-
overarching themes, that kind of stuff?
I think this game has really great character writing. I think this game, its character writing the characters have a lot of great, nice little moments with like side characters, and then they also have pivotal moments with main characters as well. I think that's like the game's like very big strength. It's a lot about connecting with people and trying to understand other people's problems. And I think that's what this Yakuza game
Okay,
does
cool.
really well.
I like the sound of that. Santi, talk about Wasteland 3, because I'm just eyeing the list, and that looks like a prime candidate for an early cut.
Okay. Wasteland 3 is if any of you guys have played Divinity Original Sin, it's very similar to that in gameplays and story-wise. It is theme-wise, it's very much like Fallout, except I think the choices-wise are so much better than the more recent Fallouts. Like, you can open up the game. So I'll give you the base rundown of the game. Your Rangers, it's after the whole world went to hell. Rangers are basically people trying to do good for other communities, and there's this they're running really low on supplies, so they need to go to Colorado in order to get more. And there's this one patriarch or king of Colorado, and they have to get supplies from him. And he's a bit of a mixed bag. He's a bit of a tyrant, and he asks, in order to get supplies, he asks you to get his 3 kids who are off doing their own thing. One's like a serial killer madman. Another person is like a cannibal who wants to rise up and start enslaving people. And the third one is, I think, just a coward scientist. And you have to go and find all these characters and bring it back to the Patriarch, all in order to help your group out. The thing is, that opens up hundreds and hundreds of decisions and moments that you're not sure what you want to do, because the Patriarch, once you bring all these characters back alive, like the serial killer, you can just straight up kill him and the patriarch would get mad, or you could bring him into your group and have him be one of your companions, or you can bring him back all goody-goody. It does a fantastic job of world building, choices you make impacting the longevity of the game, and the random groups are fantastic. There is a group of people who worship Ronald Reagan as a god, and when you walk into their compound, there's a giant statue of Ronald Reagan, and who talks to you like him, and like someone just calls you a communist, and Ronald Reagan smites him down with laser vision. It's some of the weirdest and yet amazing like charm to it that gives certain groups or certain people like that memorable charm. And furthermore, you can choose what you want to do. If you really like a group, you can like be their friends, or you can just slaughter them all out. The storytelling, like I think the biggest highlights for the storytelling is world building and the mere choices your impact have on the overarching story.
All right. I will now.
I gotta leave in a bit, but can I just say like a little speech for Cyberpunk before I leave?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Look, Cyberpunk, out of all the things it might be nominated, this probably might be the best one it has a chance on. Just because it's like, it has really good character development, like with all characters. Everyone I met, like they had such a vibe that I never felt in any other like game. Like you meet this brain dancer named Judy, and she goes on the game, and you have to help her out with Evelyn Parker, who's like this lady that looks like mysterious, right? And then you find out that she's working for this thing, and she hires you, right? You're a mercenary. It doesn't matter if you're a corporal or whatever, but like you're a mercenary, and you work with one of your partners named Jackie Wells. And literally, when he died, like I mean, it's not a spoiler. It happens early on, but like. I don't know if it is, but you know what? I don't care. It made me so sad.
We spoil things on this podcast. It's fine.
Yeah. It just made me cry. Like it actually made me cry, even though I was with him for like 5 hours, because he was such a cool dude. And I don't know, like I've never felt that way for someone in just a mere 5 hours of playing a game. And also, you just like Johnny Silverhand. Like I actually hated him so much, I wanted to punch him in the face. Which is interesting because that's Keanu Reeves, you know? And so that's when you know, they really did do good in making this guy, I don't know if I can say, a dick.
We're not on television. Say fuck, I don't care.
Yeah.
But
I've already said it.
Yeah. And then just the story itself, as it moves along, you start building relationships with everyone. Like there was this, like yesterday I was playing the game, and there was this roller coaster that you can go on. And you go on the roller coaster, and Johnny is right next to you. And he's like, I bet you're going to scream like a little girl. And you guys are both just going around the roller coaster, and you can just scream by mashing a button. And you just do it because Johnny's right there smiling. You never see this dude smile throughout the game. And then he's smiling. And that just made me happy to see him smile. And it's like, whoa, I've never felt this like emotional for a lot of these characters. And then
what do you have to say about Cyberpunk?
Yeah.
I got so much. It probably won't be on this list after I'm done talking. But for the good stuff first, I agree with Sam. While the game itself is all sorts of bugged out, the story is where it like people put effort and stuff like that. How it's amazing what little you can do to meet random people who have these like intensely strange backstories that then turn into a quest that you're like, fuck yeah, I want to help these people. One of my favorite characters is a cab.
Yeah, Delamain. Yeah,
Delamain.
Like, there is an AI cab who just drives around and helps you, and then slowly realizes that someone has hacked him and he's losing control of his cab. So you got to go find him. And each of those cabs are like weird, different personality cores of Delamain. One of them is literally GLaDOS, and I'm like, that's funny. That's fantastic.
Before I leave, I just want to mention too, there's a vending machine that is voiced by the guy from. Yeah, that vending machine is the most amazing, and he has like a little side story too, and it's just awesome how you can connect so much with people. I gotta go, but I hope.
Right. Thank you, Sam. I appreciate you tuning in.
Bye, Sam.
Bye.
All right, Tommy. What else did you have to say now that Sam's not here?
to finish Sam's point, Johnny Silverhand is probably one of the best parts of that game because he starts off as a total prick. Not gonna lie, he's just some dude who is invading your brain space, and you're like, I don't want you here. And then he very quickly became one of my favorite characters. My favorite moment in that game so far is I was walking and I was just listening to some dude play guitar, and Johnny comes out of nowhere and is like, this dude, he may not be able to, he's not good, but he fucking gets it. And I'm like, why do you feel that way, strange man who's trying to kill me inside of my brain? And then he goes into this deep thing about how meaningful music is. And I'm like, and then you have to go on a quest to collect Johnny Silverhand memorabilia so you can like learn more about this dude who's in your head. And I'm like, what a great way to introduce like, hey, there are positive sides to this dude who is going to kill you very soon.
You're phrasing it like there's a butt coming. So where's the butt?
Is that Cyberpunk has no punk? Like,
wow, what a statement.
I feel like one of the greatest things that undermines that game is that, like, you earn street cred by helping the police.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand it. For a game that... and also, the thing that bugs me the most
punk
about...
at all.
No,
That's
it's
the
not.
anti-punk. That's
so-
not.
I think Johnny Silverhand is the most punk thing in the game.
Yeah.
Dude, Cybernork 2077.
Johnny
It, like, just
Silverhand,
totally
sounds
undermines
Handsome
about
Jack to me.
what the game
from,
goes for.
from the description.
What were you saying, Tommy?
I feel like that, like, as a mechanic and part of just the quest you do alone, it undermines so much of what that game, like, touts itself to be. And not only that, but, like, the whole, like, be anyone you want to be. Bullshit.
Yeah.
You pick three. It's just like, hey, I drive around sometimes. If you pick the nomad like path or whatever, none of that has any relevance on what you do or who you are within that game. For like as a story option, it's essentially like I picked a mage in Dragon Age or something, so I know stuff about magic, but it does it worse.
I will say, I think
lot
one of the worst parts about the game was when I realized that the life paths you choose at the beginning, I feel have less impact on your story than on the gender you choose at the beginning, because your gender can affect your relationships with people and like who you can like have at the end and stuff. I feel like those should be switched. Like your life path should have much more impact, and it had very little impact except for like a couple dialogue choices throughout, which also those dialogue choices themselves meant like nothing. Like they didn't really do anything to help you.
There's also so much within that, like each part of Night City is divided into like several factions of gangs and stuff like that. However, whether you aid those gangs or fight them, there's no difference on how they see you. You can help them and then shoot all of them, and the gang will still be completely neutral to how it views you. It makes no sense because most of them are just enemies, and you get like, hey, you should help out this one dude, and you're like, yeah, I fucking help the Tiger Claws, and then the Tiger Claws come around the corner and they shoot you, and there is no relevance to so many things that you do in that game that upset
Are they a gang that makes donuts?
They're basically the Yakuza.
I would like to hear from Santi, because prior to release, he was Mr. Cyberpunk. So I am very interested now that we're on this topic to see what his feelings on the game are.
Oh, you guys haven't even heard my 2 cents. Ooh.
No, I haven't. I haven't heard you pass like a very basic like
Lighten
2
up.
sentences a few weeks ago. So I want to know what you think.
Well, do you want me to talk about the game wise or storytelling wise, or just game in
Storytelling.
general? Storytelling. Okay,
We'll go
gotcha.
with storytelling. We can touch on other things later.
I think the main story is absolutely fantastic in so many ways. The main story is an absolute highlight for me. And like, oh my goodness, the opening scenes are fantastic. It opens up in such like prologue is absolutely perfect. I do love Jackie. I do absolutely love all the characters I run into. I chose a street kid, and it like I do life paths. I do agree they don't have much of an impact on the longevity of the game. But oh my god, those opening scenes, well, the one I played, the street kid, I absolutely loved it. It made me feel like I was that character in the beginning. It set it up. Sadly, disappointed later on. But in the beginning, I was so hyped up. Like, adrenaline was rushing through me. Jackie was absolutely... I loved him so much. And the first time you met Johnny Silverhand, the first time, like, when you go to your apartment and Johnny Silverhand is literally beating the shit out of you, oh my goodness, I was like, my jaw was open, and I was like, I loved every second that Keanu was beating the shit out of me. You can quote me on that. I don't care. I loved it. And it's just how it continues was so great. The building of the relationship between you and Johnny, the friends you make along the way, and having you able to call them later on for your help. I really did love, and that was the big highlight for me. It just made me really wish they added more of the main story, because they said they cut the main story down because the whole Witcher, a lot of people didn't finish the Witcher, and I feel like I did love a lot of the side quests. Some of them were really cool, some of them were really memorable, but not as memorable as the Witcher 3, which I think they were trying to go for. And so they cut down the main story, which with my playthrough, I really wish they didn't, because the main story was the highlight for me. I loved all the characters. I loved the path it was going to. Oh my gosh, who was the Arasaka guy that was your friend?
I know who you're talking about. Yeah, what is his name?
Goro, was it Goro?
I think that's what he
No.
called, but I don't know if that was his name.
Well, he absolutely loved him. He was great. Like, he had a whole shtick of like being a very serious man who like lived by a code of honor, and you occasionally got like a little like bit of sense of humor from him every now and then, and that was a highlight because he was so stone cold and so like serious.
Did the seeming lack of any consequences for your decisions have any effect at all in your enjoyment of it? Because it sounds like the main story, from what I've heard here and just outside, the crux of the main story is like actually not bad.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like the decisions that it claims that you have actually have any weight. Did that take anything away from it for you?
Yeah, a lot of some of the, I call them maid side quests, like the one with Delamain. That one had a big decision at the end of it. I actually struggled choosing what to do with that one. There are a couple of side missions and big missions all around that did have choices that were difficult to make, and but I feel like some of them took a bit of a took a bit of the sidelines, because
Michael,
I
do you want to say
remember-
something?
I will say, I feel like
you
the consequences that you feel through most of the missions, like you kind of feel them, but only for like the end of that mission, and then like very recently after. There are very few like lasting consequences that you make, I feel like, in that game. The only ones that kind of do have impact on your relationship with Johnny, depending on how nice you are to Johnny and what he thinks of you, can have a bit of an impact on the ending. And like, even then, it's more of just like which endings you are allowed to do based on how much Johnny likes you. But other than that, yeah, I feel like the lack of like serious consequences for choices.
I feel like a lot of the consequences were just different texts you received from that person.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, like, I don't know how, like, I messed up with, like, Judy, but, like, she decided to move. I'm not sure if I did the right thing or not. And she would just send me text updates, like, yeah, it's cool over here. I'm like, that's cool. How you doing? I'm doing cool. How about you? I'm doing cool. That's it. I was like, okay, wow. Woo, I love Judy. No, she left me and and went to Wyoming or something, and only sends me one text every week. I'm like, that's not a big consequence. I don't know. There's some the story elements are very hit or miss, I feel like, and a lot of the promises they had did not deliver all the way through. Which
Do you think
It sounds
that
like it had a good crux, but like falls apart upon closer inspection.
kind of.
Yeah, it sounds like the
Is
main
what I'm
story
getting.
it sounds like the quality of the overall story gets undermined by the fact that it was presented so much as something that operated on like choice and immersion,
Mhm.
but then
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
follow through on that.
Yeah.
There's also
I-
like the
Go
the
ahead.
two-dimensionality of literally everybody within that city, and like kind of subsequent racism from it, which is fun to like kind of play through. And just every like member of the Yakuza you meet is just like the stereotypical like thick Japanese accent, and you're like, why? Who designed this to be this way? And that's for every gang member you meet. It's just some sort of ethnic minority that has a thick accent, and it feels
Not very
wrong.
punk.
Not
it's not
not a
very
great
punk.
point.
No,
It sounds
Also,
to me like it's not going to be a
Stereotyping
contender
is
for
not punk.
runner-up.
mhm.
I did want to ask,
Cybertyping 20.
do we all think that we should cut Cyberpunk based on the
I think we should cut it.
failings that it does seem it has?
Even the
Yeah,
people
but-
defending it say it has failings.
Okay.
So I think we
Yeah, I
should cut
definitely
it.
don't see it being top 3.
All right.
It's close
Michael,
up
we
there,
talk about
but-
Ori and the Will of the Wisps a little bit, because I think that's another contender for cut. We've spent a long time on this. We do need to get going cutting a little bit. Ori's
Yeah.
beautiful, but like,
Yeah.
is the story
I
anything
actually,
other than like
I
a
really,
sweet, nice thing?
I really did enjoy it. I wanted to touch on how effective it is with like the story it has and its like limited use of like dialogue and like even like reading text, and how it's still able to convey its message and story effectively. Because they're like the voice acting in that game, they don't really speak a real language. They just like make like fake words and stuff, and they just like display
Yeah.
text. And I feel like for having that is like that's a significant, like that's a barrier to like getting a good story across, and I still feel like it was able to do it. But I mean, yeah, comparatively to the other stories on this game, it definitely isn't as intense or like good on the storytelling aspect. I still really loved it. There were moments where I got teary-eyed. It was like really nice and sweet. But yeah, I'm fine with it. Yep.
Okay. I will cut it then. I should talk about Spider-Man a little bit. I haven't touched on that yet.
I
Spider-Man.
have a question real quick about Spider-Man.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. What's your question?
What's the difference between this Spider-Man Miles Morales and the previous Spider-Man game?
It's different main character, different plot.
It's an
the
entirely
combat
different
is slightly
story.
different. Yeah,
Okay,
like
because
it's completely new.
The way that it's labeled Miles Morales, I always got the sense that it was more of an add-on or like a.
No, it's completely
Okay.
standalone. It is cheaper, like it's not as long and meaty as the main game, but it is completely its own original thing. I don't
kind
think
of like Resident Evil 3 remake to the Resident Evil 2 remake in a way.
Yeah,
Shorter.
Yeah.
Less expensive.
that is a good way to put it.
Okay,
I think
I
it
understand.
probably ended up being more successful than Resident Evil 3 remake, given that that's not anywhere on
Yeah.
this list because no one
Yeah.
bothered to play it. No, but Spider-Man Miles Morales, I think, does a really good job of setting out what it sold itself as, unlike Cyberpunk, which is like you're in Harlem, and Harlem is a character, and you are getting to you just moved in. Miles just moved in, so like you're getting to know people in Harlem. That becomes a very real place to you. Like you know the neighborhood much better than in the first Spider-Man, where it was all of New York is your playground. This is like you can go all around New York, but like Harlem's your home base. These are where your friends at. This is where the people you know are, and you do get to know Harlem way better as like as a district than any of the other ones. Has a lot of fun characters that you do meet. Since this is storytelling and this is the Game of the Year podcast, I'll go into spoilers on things. There's a very Spider-Man 2-esque moment at the end of this game where a bunch of people see Miles Morales without his mask on because it was like finish the boss fight, heavy suit damage, doesn't have his mask anymore. And a bunch of the people were all like Harlem citizens that you'd met previously in the game. And there's news reporters coming up because, there was a big boss fight or whatever. So they're all trying, and they just stand in the way of the news reporters and just let you pass. And so lots of people in Harlem now just know your secret identity, but it's because like you're their Spider-Man, you're Harlem Spider-Man. So they're all like totally on your side. They're like, yeah, you're our Spider-Man, you're with us. And it like the game does a great job of making Harlem feel more like your home as the game goes on, which is exactly like Miles' arc. He just moved in, so he feels new, but then by the end of the game, he's totally like, this is my home, this is my place, these are my people. I think does a great job of doing that. There's a side quest that involves going to rescue a cat called Spider-Man, and just for that, like, it's pretty fantastic. The cat can help you in like certain takedowns. He wears a little Spider-Man mask. He rides around your backpack. Like a side quest with the cat is just a good side quest.
You had me at cat.
Exactly. Like I wanted to mention that because cats are good. I think it's very well acted. I like all the characters are really good. I'm not going to claim it's like mind blowing or whatever, but like it's a very good Spider-Man story, and it does a good job of being like he's a younger Spider-Man, more learning the ropes. He's not as confident as Peter in the last game was. He's been doing it for a while. He's getting the hang of things. That goes more into like animation and stuff like that, even too, with like the more not clunky, but clumsy looking web swinging and all that kind of thing. But anyway, I just want to talk a little bit about Spider-Man. I'm not going to take up too much time on that. Let's see. Where should we go next? We do got to start cutting something. And I was gonna say I'll cut Bug Snacks. I haven't even quite finished that game yet, so I don't want to try to argue it should win because I haven't totally finished it. It's just I wanted to mention it because I do think it's interesting and well made. We'll talk about Hades a little bit before we get into Last of Us Part 2. I just talked about Spider-Man, so I don't want to immediately jump into me ranting about The Last of Us Part 2. So anyone want to talk about Hades for a minute?
Oh, I do love some Hades.
I just want to say one thing. I just want to say one thing about Hades. It's a roguelike, so you do things over and over again. And whenever you reach the end, I like the first time you do it. Oh my god, it was heartfelt. Like I was like felt my like chest tense up and everything.
Big moment.
It was a very big moment. And then I'm like, okay, I have to do it all over again. And I spent the second time just being like, oh, okay, haha, woo, woo, woo. Oh my god, no, it still hit. It still hit hard. Like my face was getting red. I was still feeling really emotional, and each time it does not lose that impact. And for a game going through the same thing, like looking outside of it, maybe people's just watching, doing the same thing over and over again, talking to the same people. The emotional impact is still there, and that's very impressive with just the same repetition, I think. And I absolutely love it.
Tommy, go off about Hades. You look like you want to.
Yeah, I want to go off about most of the things on this list, or actually, yeah. But Hades has such good like character design for all of them. Like there is nobody in that game, even the people that don't talk, like the spirits and stuff like that, that I do not care about. Even Hypnos, and he's a weird little fuck. But everyone like has their own kind of agendas and goals, and it's like you don't hate them despite the fact that you're like trying to escape this place, which is like such a good nuance for a character that's like I have to escape this place, but you still love everyone who's here because this is your home for all of your life, and everything just tops like threw it over one day. It's so good. It's very hard for me to explain like how just like adding all this into like Zagreus is just a kind of a kind and like decent person that like makes all of this very different. Like you're literally escaping hell and you're just helping out people on the way who are all like, yeah, you know, good for you, kid. We believe in you. And then like
we can get into spoilers if we want to. This is the storytelling part of Game of the Year podcast, so we can talk about the plot of the game.
Yeah.
Somebody else take over because I won't.
All right,
Jacob, you take over.
Jacob, take over.
Yeah,
Hades is like one of the only games I played this year. Just gonna fully put it out there. But yeah, no, the thing that impresses me most about Hades is innovation. It's like extremely clever in the way that they decided to present the story by just giving you little bits at a time, especially at the beginning. You just start off and it's like, hey, you're escaping from hell, go. And you're like, okay, that's the game, right? And it's like, no, just wait. And they start feeding you little bits of information about all the people around you. And just like the long history you have with people in your home, and then the history like your dad has with all the other Olympians. It's just like, and I would say like even some of the stuff they leave up to question. You don't ever get like the full story of what happens, which is very good for like Arena of the Mind type storytelling. But yeah, just like the fact that you never get like the same dialogue twice until you get into like extremely late game, that in itself was like very gratifying to me. I don't, especially in a roguelike when you're doing the same thing over and over again. I don't want to be going back to the house and then saying the same thing to like Meg each time. But but instead of doing that, it just lets you like kind of build and build and build on these little moments. And I feel like when you hit certain like big character moments with people, it's that much more gratifying because you've worked so long to get to that point. So yeah, I really like Hades. I want it to win.
I want to say, amplifying that point of like the storytelling being really good. The voice acting, I think, really helps take it over the top. All the voice acting in this game is phenomenal. Everyone nails the voice, and it's like a lot of people end up doing a lot of voices. Like Logan Cunningham is a bunch of people. He's Hades, and he's a bunch of others. And Darren Korb, who both composed all the music, is also Zagreus and Skelly. And like, there's a lot of overlap, but they all manage to nail it every single time. And like, some people's voices in that game are just hot. Like, but the character art is hot, but you just listen to it and you're like, man, you have a hot voice. And on the other end of being hot, I love Dusa. She's the best. I would die for Dusa. If she asked me to kill a man, I would kill a man for Dusa. And she would never ask me to, but I would.
I cannot imagine Dusa's voice asking you to commit murder.
No, she never would, which is what I love about her. She's a precious little cinnamon bun, and I just want to like hold her dearly. And it broke, when I'd say like it broke my heart when you get to the end of the Dusa romance path and she's like, you know, I don't think I'm ready for this. We should just remain friends forever. And I was like, okay.
Just crying a little bit.
And then I went and I romanced Meg anyway, because I was like, Dusa, you broke my heart, but I need to move past this somehow. So then I went and romanced Meg.
You need a rebound.
Rebound.
I
romanced Meg first and then completed Dusa's. But even when Dusa like rejects you, I was still like, it still kind of hurts.
Oh, it hurts so bad. Meg is great though. I don't want to take anything away from Meg. Meg's fantastic, and Meg is who I'm talking about when I say, man, they have a hot voice. Like,
yes,
Meg is just hot. Anyway, Hades is fantastic.
Last of Us?
Yeah, I was about to say. Did anyone besides me play The Last of Us Part 2?
I did.
Okay, no one Santi did. Tommy watched me play the whole thing, and it seems like maybe Xavier, you watched a playthrough of Last of Us Part 2?
No, here's the thing. I was planning to before this, but my controller broke 30 minutes in.
Oh my
I
goodness, that's
have the
awful. I'm sorry.
game.
Oh, that's awful. I'm so
Well,
sorry.
how were those
Oh,
first
no,
30 minutes?
Xavier.
Were those
I-
first 30 minutes everything you hoped they would be?
It was wonderful.
Oh.
I
Going
hate to
back into
be
the world.
the bearer of bad news, but I don't think it's winning this.
Yeah, I don't
category.
think it's making to the top 3.
Fine.
I don't
It
think
is
it's
not winning. It is not winning this category.
I think
I
it's
don't think
dying
it's
here.
I don't think it's gonna
Alright.
win. I think it should be in the top 3.
I
disagree harshly.
from what we
Disagree.
have here, I would still disagree with that. But let me at least get into it a little bit. So the crux of all the arguments with The Last of Us Part 2, I think, comes down to like, was it a good idea to purposefully make you not like it? Because that's what that game does, and not even in the way of like it kills Joel. We're going full spoilers for The Last of Us Part 2. I'm sorry, Xavier, but we have to go into spoilers to talk about this game. And like it killing Joel isn't the part that I have a problem with.
That's expected.
Like, okay,
Like he had
That's
said.
ex-
Like,
honestly,
that's totally.
expected, sets Ellie on her path. It's fine.
Yeah.
The issue with The Last of Us, well, I have a lot of issues with The Last of Us, and some of them even go into like because
think
this
the
game is such a like strictly narrative. Let me just finish this, then I'll let Tommy go to your point. The narrative and like the mechanics are very intertwined. Like you progress through the mechanics of the game as a narrative, so it's hard for me to like separate them completely because I have a lot of issues with like the mechanics of how this game plays, with that also kind of tying to the story. I will say for the story, on the whole, I am not exactly sure what this game was really trying to say, because I don't think this game knew exactly what it wanted to say, because there's lots of like cycle of violence, hate, all that kind of stuff, but like I think all this game really had was a sense of like the cycle of violence is bad, and like it wanted to say something about hate, but I don't think it ever actually got there. Like it does a lot of things that are all kind of building to a point, but like by the end of it, because this game is too long, like the whole point of this game is that like it's a slog. Like you play through an entire like the first game's worth of time as Ellie, and then you hard cut to playing as Abby for an equal amount of time, the person who killed Joel. And you're not supposed to like Abby at first when you switch to her. I don't really have a problem with trying to make you empathize with the character you didn't like. It's the fact that like we've had a game where we were attached to Ellie. The entire first half of this game, we're still attached to Ellie. She's our girl. Like, we sympathize with her. And then you switch to Abby, who I do think is very well performed, mostly pretty well written. But like, and then you start over in your progress. This is where the mechanics get a little tricky, and that like you spend half the game progressing. You build your skill tree as Ellie, and then it's hard reset. You were back at level 1, like 15 hours into this game. And I also don't think neither of their surrounding supporting casts I think were great, bar Joel, who was fantastic. Dina was pretty good. Ellie's other friends, whoever the hell they were, Jesse or whatever, like he was pretty whatever. I think all of Abby's friends, I don't even remember any of their names. Like Ashley
Mel,
Birch was one of
Owen.
them. Mel. Owen. Okay, it was Owen. Owen sucks. I think he's kind of supposed to suck, but that's the more like the big question about this game is how much is it a good idea to purposefully make things suck when like both I didn't end up, I feel like, getting the message it wanted me to get, and it wasn't fun. Like if it wasn't fun, like if it was engaging, but I got something out of it because of it being not fun in an engaging way, that's fine. But it wasn't fun in a not engaging way, and I don't feel like I ended up taking away from it what it wanted me to take away from it.
Yeah, there have
So
been
it's
games in the past
reborn,
which are
but
like,
without the satisfaction.
yeah, there have been games in the past which are like they're not meant to be fun, but at the same time, like you get it out of it. Like I feel like Spec Ops: The
Yes.
Line. It's like you don't enjoy that game, but man, its message hits you, and like you get.
I would
it.
say the first Last of Us is
First Last
successful
of Us
in that.
kinda, yeah.
Like that's not a super fun game to play. It's super harrowing, but I do think it was successful in what it was trying to do. Much more so than Last of Us Part 2.
With the thing with The Last of Us Part 2, I kind of understand what it was going for. I just don't think because like I'm not sure people are saying they don't get what the message is. I think the message I got from it is like it's the end of the world, and like civilizations are very scarce to come by, and a lot of people have lost the loved ones, and so the thing that keeps people going are the ones you hold dear, and you will do absolutely everything in your power to keep those people you love dearly still in your life. And it doesn't matter, like it doesn't matter your
I
correlation,
disagree
what
with
group.
that. I think both of their journeys were about sacrificing everything for the sake of their revenge. Like they
Yeah.
both lost everything. Abby
but-
ended up gaining Lev, but like Ellie purposefully, like she knew what the consequences were, and she did it anyway. And
Yeah,
I do
I
think
think
that was like
this game
it's
is
presented
meant
as a
to
mistake,
highlight.
but
Mhm.
So, like, I
I
think
don't
this
know.
game is meant to highlight the consequences of revenge and the like Joel's influence on Ellie and how that affects her story in part 2.
I think
I
this
think-
game
I think
wants to be
both-
character driven more than it is character driven.
Yeah, I think
Like if
both
it wants to say it
messages
is, just
are prevalent though. Like I think both messages are prevalent, but the problem is that because they both lose someone that's very dear to them. The thing is, with the mindset of you will do anything to keep the ones you love close to you, and you will destroy anybody that messes with them. I grew up playing Ellie and Joel. Okay, listen, I understand Abby. Okay, she lost her father to some guy who was selfish and didn't have to murder anybody. He could have just taken Ellie and gotten out of there. He didn't have to murder an entire organization to do that.
if you want to
So-
save Ellie's life,
Yeah.
too. But
I
yeah.
mean, yeah, it's like it could be seen from a million different things.
Joel's
and-
like the bad guy at the end of that game. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. The whole point.
Yeah,
is
no,
like
he's
Joel's
an asshole.
the
He
bad
killed
guy.
so many people just
Yeah.
to do that. But the thing is, if it was her, oh yeah, no, go for her. Go kill the guy who did all that stuff. The thing is, I grew up with Joel. Me, the person playing, I want to kill everybody who messed with my Joel. So I don't give a shit about Abby. I don't give a shit about her struggle. I want her dead because Joel is dead. And so I understand what they're saying, and I understand what they're doing, like saying each person has their own little things, and each people are going to go out with revenge, and like nobody's in the right. It's just all just mindless killing. But I don't like I playing as Abby. The first thing I did was I drove her into a pile of walkers because I wanted that way to end the game.
There's one thing I want to bitch about really hard for a second, and then I want to go on to some of the things I do think the game does well. I don't want to
Is it the
completely just
thing?
like be like, it's the thing.
Okay.
The thing.
So there's
All right, what's
each
the thing?
Ellie and Abby each have a collectible. Ellie's is these like little superhero.
Ooh, bad
Hey, there
toy.
we
So what
go!
we cut? Oh, wait.
I've heard discourse about this though. I've heard that this has pissed people off. The collectibles.
Okay,
Oh,
really
wait, hold
quickly, I
on.
want to
Enix
say,
here, Enix here.
Hold on,
Enix
let
back,
Enoch
Enix
go
back.
back.
Hey, let me go. So yeah,
We're letting
Ellie's
you.
is this like these collectible cards that are like superheroes, all these like whatever. It's fine. Abby's is a fucking coin. It's not that like I hate quarters and think it's lame. It's that this game goes so hard into like two sides of the same coin that when you go into Abby's room and she's like, "Oh, you're collecting," or no, it's a flashback first. You collect quarters. I was like, could you be more fucking on the nose with this whole two sides of the same coin bullshit than having her collectible literally just be a coin? I'm like, this is the least subtle thing this game has done, and I don't think this game is particularly subtle. Like
I've
it
seen
pissed me
discourse
off
about this. It's
so
hilarious.
much that like Ellie's like, it's just like, it's a collectible because she's kind of a nerd, and that's what happens in the first game. So like, oh, this is just a thing she likes. But then, like, Abby's is like, man, okay, fine. People do collect coins, but like, oh my god, for a game that is so like dual, look at them both, like, oh, one's really skinny and one's really buff, and like just.
Are you
constantly
complaining that you think the game's just very pretentious in its messaging?
It's
Or it
just
thinks
that
that it's
like
it
having
thinks
the
that
coin be
audience
the
is
collectible
dumb.
is so fucking stupid because this game's
It's in
already
your
on the
face.
nose that like putting another one in your face to be like, get it? Did you get it yet? It's they're two sides of the same coin. It
Dude,
just
I
makes
think,
like
I think a
wanna
lot of people
scream.
just
It makes
didn't
me so
understand
mad.
the story.
no,
Like, a lot of people who hate on it. It's just like the metaphors flew over their heads.
That's my like the thing that throws me into a rage about this game is that's so like pointed in your face on the nose. I'm like, this was God, I fucking hate that.
I agree with you, Nick.
Yeah.
Too
on this.
busy they think their audience is,
I don't
but they
think it's
wouldn't
that
understand the
dumb.
coin.
Whatever.
No, it's the problem
Man.
that the writers have is that they wrote it in such a way that they kept wanting to hammer the same point down. But like once you get like, oh, okay, I'm Abby now. It's like they're running a fucking truck into you. It's like
That's a good way to put it.
like I can't tell you how many times, and even watching Enoch play this, because I watched him play nearly the entire goddamn game.
Yeah, basically the whole
Yeah,
thing.
like as soon as you switch over to Abby and you pick up your first thing, he went fuck because
Yeah,
he
when you pick up
realized
bolts or whatever, because I didn't think yet that I was gonna play the whole entire game as Abby. I think because I was in denial. I was like, oh, we're gonna play as Abby in like a condensed version of the Ellie stuff, and then we leave. But then when I picked up bolts, which is how you upgrade your weapons, and I picked up like training manuals to unlock more skill trees, I was like,
Like,
oh
oh,
fuck,
no,
I'm in
oh,
I'm
no.
in this for a long time, aren't I? And it
No,
was not
yeah.
something I wanted to do, which I'll get more into in gameplay, I think. Because
yeah,
did I
it's
even
that-
nominated for gameplay? Did anyone? Is that
Mhm.
even there?
I
Is
actually,
It's
Yeah.
probably
Yes, it's
in there.
It's
Yeah.
there.
It is.
We're going through. That's fine. Whatever. I'm sorry,
in
Tommy.
terms of-
Continue.
yeah. In terms of a pacing thing, this game sucks. Like
This
halfway
game does
through,
have very
and-
mediocre pacing at times.
mediocre is the light way to put it. Realizing that there's another game in the game is kind of like, all right.
Well, they said that this game was going to be like
Who put this game in my game?
No, and then see, once
felt
they
like
get done with the
climax.
second game, they make you play as Ellie again for like 5 more hours in California, and
There's a
that
third
fucking sucks
game.
too. Like it's like okay,
Games
we
within
finally got
games.
it. We seem like we're at the end now, and then it's like, no, you're gonna play this for like 5 to 7 more hours, and like there's still more to go, and it's just like, oh my god, please, I want this game to end. Like,
So it seems like we're pretty set on Last of Us being struck.
oh, I'm
Yes.
axing it.
Yes.
I do.
We're axing it. We're axing it. We're moving
Talk about
on.
it. We
I
just need
do
to-
want to say some nice things about it really quick because it's not a wholly terrible
Okay.
game that deserves to just be shit on.
Because we have been talking about it for a long time.
We have, I know. I gets me riled up. The performances are all fantastic. Even Abby's, Laura Bailey's Abby is fantastic. Joel and Ellie, their relationship, all great. The scene, they each have like Ellie and Abby, going back to the both sides of the same coin thing. They each have like their place with their people that they go to. And Ellie's is wonderful. It's this like natural history museum, and she has this beautiful scene with Joel where they go into like space like capsule thing. Because in the first game, Ellie told her like she loves space. She's super into it. And this is a flashback with Ellie being young again, before Joel died, obviously. And he like gives her this tape recorder, and she puts on like a helmet, and she's like closes her eyes and sort of like relives like the launch of like going to the moon. And it's like it is the most beautiful, wonderful moment in that entire game, and the moment that I think that game like almost gets to what it's trying to do. And I think that whole like area, the natural museum, is super cool. I think that's well done. Abby's is she has this aquarium, and it's a super cool aquarium. Like you visit it multiple times, and even as Ellie, you go in there and kill a bunch of people in the aquarium. Abby doesn't have nearly as strong of a moment as that Ellie and Joel moment. I think just because we just met Abby, so we're not as connected to her. I like those parts are really good. All the interactions with Joel and Ellie are good. I had a couple of nice things to say. I don't remember. It's not totally bad. I just think it has some very glaring flaws. I do want to brief like weird bullet point. Spider-Man Miles Morales, its final thing is inside of a duo natural history museum / aquarium, and before you do the final fight, you have a flashback with your friend who is now the villain, where you're in that thing together. And it's so funny to me that both of these games are like, yeah, aquarium, natural history museum, flashback to other shit, and then you fight. It's like it's just really funny coincidence, and I just want to point that out. I will strike
That's
it from the
fair.
list.
I think Last of Us Part 2 has like one really like awesome moment, and where you play as Abby, and like it's like a total role reversal where you play as Abby and you fight Ellie instead of the other way around. I think that was like a really cool.
I do
moment
remember
in
that.
the game.
In the end, I'm still gonna play the game.
Yeah.
Oh no,
I want
I think
to
it's
play
worth
the
seeing
game.
that. Yeah, I'm not trying to say that you shouldn't.
I enjoyed playing the game. It does have flaws, and I think a lot of the outroar is because of the way the developer, the writers, I kind of think I feel like they had the mindset
This
of
game
just like
could have been edited together in a much better way, than how it
Well,
was presented.
most of the uproar was like, "You killed Joel, how dare you bullshit?"
Yeah.
And then there's some
I thought that was
legitimate
very
criticism,
fitting.
but
I
a
thought
lot
that
of the-
was very made.
Oh
that
no,
made
yeah, killing
sense.
Joel made perfect sense. No, then
Yeah,
doubt
that
it.
makes
So
sense.
so we're down to 5.
So
I
Yep.
expect it to
We're down to
Hades.
5.
what are our bottom? What do we think
Yeah,
we
what's
can
Seems
I-
like
cover
Wasteland 3 is probably
Yeah.
the one next one to get
Has
cut.
anybody here played Wasteland 3, or is it just?
No, I have honestly.
you.
When you were talking about it, I really think that that's a cool story, and I really actually want to go play that because that seems dope.
It's
I
really,
love
like,
that aesthetic.
It's
of
a
it.
game that does. It's really like it ties you in a lot, and it's actually at the same time it has some very stupid but fantastic moments. Like there's a guy who runs like the best shop in all the Wasteland, and it's some guy who thinks he's Dracula, and he has little plastic teeth in. And it's just there's some like goofy. There's always goofy moments in it, and that just makes you love it.
I'm starting to think
It's-
that we should make like best characters a
So there-
category. 'Cause I feel like we
It-
always
it-
come-
it-
we always-
We
we always
had
come
it
to
used
one
to
point.
be, and then I cut it.
I remember
It used to be a
Gotcha.
category, and then I cut
Yeah.
it.
Well, 'cause the
I feel
problem
we've
is
been
that it's usually,
conflating
like, only,
storytelling
like-
and characters a lot.
Well, the
Because then we
problem
just
is
argue the
that
same things twice
yeah,
a
it's
lot.
the same
And so
thing,
I
yeah.
wanted it seemed redundant, so I cut it. But I don't know. Maybe next year we'll argue that.
We'll bring it back.
I'll cut Spider-Man personally.
Okay.
Because I'm like I like Spider-Man a lot. I'm trying to move things along.
It's
and
like it's like watching
Wasteland
the
3
movie, right?
doesn't like it seems funny, but like I don't know. It isn't that impressive, but it seems like Michael at least is on board with that. I don't know.
In my mind,
I do want to keep it on here more than
Wasteland
Wasteland, but
No, if you, I like Wasteland. If you want to cut Wasteland, I'm not gonna. I haven't played it. Like you can cut it. I just think
Okay.
I just like the idea of it. I think it's-
Wasteland does seem to be the least played out of all of these.
Yeah,
all right, I will cut
Fair.
Wasteland. Then if we're
Ghost
going by least
of
played,
Tsushima, have we actually?
Yakuza.
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 we haven't really talked about Ghost of Tsushima, but I can talk about it if you want to.
Yeah,
or do we
I
wanna
don't know
just
what the
cut-
story
go-
is. We've
Do we
heard
want to
about
cut Yakuza first?
I think we
No.
can
Yeah.
cut Yakuza.
I'm fine with it.
I don't
No.
All right.
Mm,
I saw a lot of head nods, so
Dying
I
on
think I'm
this
going to cut
hill.
Yakuza.
No.
Oh.
Ah,
so
I'm-
good.
All right,
I'm
here.
with you.
Democracy, Noah.
Well, I will talk about Ghosts, and then we will decide if you want to get Ghost of Tsushima. Ghosts has a lot of great characters. All of there's recurring side characters that you do chains of side quests for. There's like 4 or 5 of them, and they're all really good. I liked all of those storylines for all of them, and getting to know them was fun. They join you on your quest. I think Ghost of Tsushima, where Spider-Man Miles Morales feels kind of like you're playing through a movie, Ghost is like you're playing through a TV show, like a prestige. A prestige. I don't know. It feels like a TV show just in the way that it's paced, because it's literally separated into 3 acts. There's Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and it is exactly a 3-act structure like you would expect. First is introducing the world, setting everything up. Then Act 2 is like, oh, we're doing it, and then you are not doing it. Everything is at its worst point. And then 3 is you go up, you beat the bad guy. It's not like innovative or anything, but it's just all very well done. Like I said, I think the characters are great. I think it does a very good job of, it presents sort of like this conflict at the beginning of the game between being a samurai and being a ghost, which are like the 2 play styles, the whole thing about. It's like you play as Jin Sakai. He's a samurai of Clan Sakai under Lord Shimura. And his whole life he's been like, we are honorable samurai. We deal justice in the light. We don't sneak around. It's like, if there's going to be justice, we're going to do it out in the open for everyone to see, so that everyone can know that like justice is the thing to be regarded and like respected. And then the Mongols start invading, and like all the samurai are killed, except for Jin and Lord Shimura. He's captured because they want to try to convince him to join their side or whatever. But they think Jin's dead. He comes back because he gets saved. And so the inner conflict with Jin is like, the Mongols in the game are like very much just, they're not 3-dimensional at all in the game. Then the main enemy, he's like at least more interesting, but none of the Mongols are presented as anything other than enemy fodder, essentially. But it's also like, all right, they are a lot more brutal than samurai would be. And so if you don't want people to die, sometimes you have to do things sneakily and underhanded. And I think it, like, early on in the game, when I stealth killed someone, I did it for a little bit, and I was like, I'd been mostly trying at the beginning to sort of play in character and be like, all right, I'm going to walk in front and try to like do things the honorable way so that like we don't become the worst versions of ourselves or whatever. And there was some hostages that I'm like, all right, if I go in the normal way, they're going to die. So I got to go in sneakily. And when I did a sneak attack on someone and just the sort of like normal side mission, after I killed him, or as I killed him, I got a flashback to you sparring with your uncle when you were younger, and he like calls you dishonorable for being sneaky, and then you feel really bad about it for doing it. It's really funny because it comes totally out of nowhere. It's like, oh man, you're not doing the right thing, and it's like, oh man, I feel bad now that like I'm doing this. And then over the course of the game, it's more and more like, this maybe isn't what we want to do, but it's what we have to do so people don't die. And Jin goes fully on that path of like, I have to become the ghost, the legend that everyone thinks I am, that's super brutal in killing the Mongols, because it's the only way that we're going to save our home and not have everyone die. And your uncle's sort of opposed to you and like, no, we're samurai, we're going to do things the samurai way, even if that means a lot of people die. And so you eventually, at near the end of the game, become totally opposed from your uncle, and he even like doesn't disown you, but you become on opposite sides and that he's hunting you down. And the final act of the game is actually you have to duel your uncle, because the shogun have rendered Jin an outlaw and determined that like, we're not messing with the ghost, he's not who we are. They disbanded his clan, like his family is no longer recognized by the shogun, and so his uncle has to try to bring him in. And so at the end of the game, you have to have a fight with your uncle, who you've had a lot of scenes with and a lot of flashbacks to, and like there's a clear like love bond and relationship between them because of their family, and you have to duel and defeat him. And the end of the game gives you a choice. He's like, honor, like do me one last honor and like give me an honorable death. And you have to choose whether or not you kill your uncle at the end of this game. And I could not do it. Like I'm like, I can't kill him. And so I don't know what repercussions that will have if they make a sequel. So then like you leave, you are forever an outlaw now, but you did what you had to do to save your island. And I think it presents that moral struggle really well. Even the further on it goes, I think the better it gets at presenting that moral struggle. I've been going for a while, so I'll stop for a second if anyone wants to jump in.
No, that's an extremely compelling argument.
I
I think
love
you
it.
make
Yeah.
a really good case.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do agree. I think
No,
you know,
yeah.
Miles Morales out of the list, Ghost of Tsushima is a little bit more compelling from what your take is.
Yeah, I'd agree.
But what is more compelling, Yakuza or Spider-Man?
Ooh,
I think you could,
I haven't played Spider-Man. So
I haven't played Yakuza. It looks good. I actually really do want to play Yakuza Like a Dragon. This is hard because like, oh man, I really want to play that game. It looks very good. but I
On a
can't.
story standpoint, I might say to cut Spider-Man over Yakuza for the story standpoint.
I am okay with that.
I think that the Yakuza has the better story aspect to it.
All right. I will cut Spider-Man Miles Morales, which means we now need to decide a winner between Hades, Ghost of Tsushima, and Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Hades.
honestly, you've convinced me. I think Tsushima.
yeah, Ghost.
I think Ghost.
I think Ghosts.
In your argument.
Which is funny
That
because
sounds
I think
like
I think I want to go with Hades.
I want to go with
I
Hades.
think I also want to
I
go
love
with
Ghost,
Hades.
but I personally I think would go with Hades.
I think the only reason
Yeah.
you're saying this is you saw a really good argument for Ghost, and like our Hades
Reason-
argument
yeah,
was a
recency.
bit back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I love
I'll say-
Ghost, but
like,
I
the
think
thing
I would
about
go with
Hades,
Hades.
not only is it able to do a really good story, I feel, with its characters, but it's able to do that in a roguelike, which I don't know if
Yeah,
I've
that's
ever
impressive
seen.
as hell.
I don't know if I've ever seen a
Hmm.
roguelike do that before. And it
Yeah,
also
like I said
ties
earlier,
the
it's
whole-
innovation.
You know what?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It
Alright,
ties the
I'll go
whole
with-
idea of the
Okay.
roguelike is you keep dying and you just like trying to go further and further and you keep dying. And the dying aspect is part of that game, because when you die, it's like you literally like just like come back at the, I forget, like the pool or whatever, like at the beginning, like in
Mhm.
the House of Hades, and you respawn, and then like the first person you meet there, okay, well no, you first meet Hypnos, and Hypnos is just like, fuck you. But then you see Hades, and you can like talk to Hades, and he's like, "Well, you died again, didn't you? Huh? You couldn't make it out." And he's like keeps berating you throughout the game, and you like have this whole thing with him, and like talk to all the characters, and like yeah, dying is like a major aspect of the story of that game, and I really love that part about it.
I think Hades
Okay.
is the winner here.
All right.
If
You know,
we're
I think
all
Hades
agreed
is-
about that.
That's a good point. It has a lot of
Right.
like great innovation.
I feel like the real story highlight for Ghost of Tsushima is the ending. That's the biggest standout thing. But like Hades, it's the entire build up to it.
I would say
think.
so. I think Ghost starts off fine and then gets really, really good. Near the
Yeah.
end, it sort of gets better as it goes on. But I do think
Yeah.
the start of it is comparatively weaker.
Yakuza is just so fun, just as a story.
I'm not mad at
very
all the
laugh.
Yakuza's in here because it looks like a really good game. So I'm not
It's
mad
so
whatsoever.
funny.
It's a
Just
runner up.
every single thing.
I'm trying to
Alright.
get into the Yakuza series, but I haven't downloaded my first game yet. I bought it. But I haven't
I've tried to go
downloaded
through
Let's see.
Yakuza
one to get.
0.
I got
Okay,
zero.
so now we've got gameplay.
That's a good one to
Yes.
start.
Best gameplay is
Best
next. We've been going for a
gameplay.
solid 2 hours.
It's like-
and-
it's like a
if y'all are
break,
starting
like a
about
couple minute break
gameplay,
real
I
quick.
think I will bow out.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you for
Alright.
participating,
Later,
Jacob.
Yeah,
Thanks
let
for
me know
coming.
what
Yeah,
gets
because-
best game.
I
Will do.
will post in the Discord once we're done.
Awesome. All right, I'll see y'all.
All right. Thank you.
Maybe like take
Bye-bye.
5 real quick.
I was gonna request. Can we take a short break? Because I need to
do
go to
too.
the
I
bathroom. When to get some water. I've been
Oh, we need
talking
to
a
get
lot.
a
My throat's
package
hurt. We're
real
gonna take a
quick.
break real quick.
I need to go get a package.
So, Bryn, how are you?
I'm tired. I woke up at 6 in the morning.
It's usually not
Um,
ideal.
Because dog was like, hey, I need to be let out. And I let him out. And instead of going outside to go potty, he lies down on the floor for another 20 minutes. And then I couldn't eat because I had to get blood drawn.
Ah, nice.
And I was almost falling asleep in the waiting room.
Wait, why'd you get blood drawn? Did you just decide to donate, or
Just check up.
okay?
Just getting a physical. And they're like, you should probably get your blood drawn just to check that stuff. And I was like, I could do that.
Yeah, I got my blood drawn just before I went home. Thankfully.
I've gotten it drawn a lot. Like my immune system used to be absolute shit. Like I was sick 19 days in 4th grade, for instance. And it's because I missed a shot when I was a baby. There's like one shot that I missed that I didn't get. And that had something to do with it. But they were like needing to draw blood every single time I was sick to figure out what was happening. And so I think one time I had to get 5 vials of blood drawn in one go. 5 of those little test tube deals. So I am a champion at having blood drawn. I would be great at blood drives, but I'm too small to go to blood drives. I legally cannot. I do not weigh enough to donate blood.
Gotcha.
I went to the doctor and they're like, "You're underweight," and I'm like, "Well, I don't exercise. I sit around all day, so I don't know why I'm underweight."
It's all about how much you eat.
I do have a tendency to skip lunch because I forget about it.
You gotta remember, eat to eat.
The biggest side effect of hyper focus for me is I just completely forgot. Czar, you're awake.
Oh my god, he's finally here.
Czar,
Czar,
I'm so
we struck
sorry.
Persona 5 from consideration for anything because we determined that a remaster does not count as an entire game.
I'm so
So
sorry.
it's out of the running for everything.
Even music?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
when we struck it.
That was the one I really wanted to. It's fine.
Yeah, and you didn't wake up in time.
Yeah, I had trouble sleeping because I got 2 vaccinations last
How are
night
you awake
or
at
yesterday.
4 a.m.?
Okay, so I'm a side. I sleep on my sides, right?
Dude.
I sleep on my sides, and both my arms
Yeah?
are sore. So, because I had 2
Sleep on your
vaccinations,
stomach.
I can't. Like, I physically can't. I toss and turn when I sleep, and
Mm.
every single
Me
time I
too.
wanted to turn,
Dude,
Get a better
it was just like
melatonin
really intense
supplements, my
pain
man.
in my arm.
Yeah, get your vitamin D. It's always good.
Well, sorry, you didn't get.
And then I fell asleep for 2 hours at 5 o'clock.
Santi kind of argued valiantly for it, but we were
Okay.
like, it's just a
I
remaster,
expected that.
man.
I
Even he
literally I fell
conceded that
asleep
it
for
was a
2 hours
remaster and
at
not
like 5
actual.
o'clock, woke up at 7 o'clock to loud banging because apparently my neighbors decided today's the day we're going to do construction on our fence. They're still going. It's significantly less quiet now. But in the morning, it was literally just every like minute. So
Oh.
then I fell asleep on the couch for like 8 hours or
Nice.
something.
Bryn,
Enoch, Zara's here and we had to break the news.
Yeah, we
Persona
disqualified
5's gone.
Persona 5 Royal.
Bryn, what kind of
Sad
art? What kind of art do you do, Bryn?
Digital, mainly.
Okay.
But I also drew,
You know, I went to
I
go get
dabble
some
in
water,
landscapes occasionally.
and I came back with
I'm doing
alcohol.
miniature painting. So that's
I
art.
like doing. Ooh, I like it.
It's not like strong alcohol; it's just Mike's. But
I even got this guy.
Gonna get fucked up.
I'm
feeling good. You know, I'm in the moment now. We've been getting into some real arguments
And
here.
we're down to the two last categories.
I was like,
which are gonna
exactly. Like, let's drink a Mike's right now. Let's feel good. Let's go.
I feel like Mike's might be alcohol that I can tolerate.
It's
just
the
lemonade.
equivalent of a beer, but it just tastes like good lemonade.
Yeah.
It's a lemonade soda that's just good. Like I don't even feel any alcohol. It's just this is a good lemonade soda.
Yeah, it turns out that I need fruity girly drinks.
Hey,
Except I don't know.
Fruity girly drinks. Here's the thing
There's
about fruity
nothing-
girly
Mike's
drinks.
is great. I love this.
There's nothing wrong with them.
Fruity girly drinks, like
They're
I don't
great.
understand. People are like, oh man, get like case of beer, like pound that. It's like I will much rather enjoy my fruity girly smoothie that also gets me fucked up. Like I will take that because
Yeah,
fruity girly drinks
I
can
want
pack
to
some
dr-
punch behind them.
I want to drink something that tastes good and that doesn't burn my throat on the way down.
Yeah.
Sorry, but I
found
don't
them.
want your shots of vodka or your hard liquor. Sorry, I want to enjoy what I'm drinking.
Well, the thing is,
God,
yeah,
you
like-
the fruity girly drinks have that stuff too, and it's great.
What were you gonna say,
Yeah,
Tommy?
but they taste
Oh,
good.
no, I was gonna say,
Uh-huh.
Enoch said something to me that made me so mad. I asked him for sticky notes before we started, and he said,
What was
I lost them. I just found them, and I'm happy about that. But
Nice.
what is it? He was like, "Oh, you've been taking timestamps and stuff like that for when you edit this," and I was like,
Because
that
he
would've
said,
been
I've been
smart.
doing something when I wasn't paying attention, and I was like, "Oh, taking timestamps." He's like, "No, not at all."
I was like, that would have been smart. Now I have to fucking listen to this thing and manually create my timestamps like I do every
Don't-
time.
I'm sorry.
Well, I'll tell you. Well, no, we had started recording. Never mind.
You
I
act
feel like
like I haven't.
storytelling was probably our longest category. Like, I don't think
Yes.
gameplay or game of the year is gonna
Because
take
we
as long as
had to go
storytelling
through
did.
every detail of each story.
Gameplay? I feel like we can cut off most of them right now.
Most of them
we-
real quick. Yeah, we can go through
Oh,
this
yeah.
list fast.
Yeah.
We need to list them
Here,
first.
do you want to
I
come
think
back?
we
to
can-
it?
I
Do you
think
wanna
we
do
can-
a-
Yeah,
we're not
I'll
recording right now,
reintro
so-
the podcast or something.
All right.
Yeah.
We're doing that. All right.
I feel like Fall Guys is gonna go.
Oh.
pretty
Sorry,
quickly.
Zara, I couldn't
Let me reintro the
couldn't-
podcast. All right, we're back after that quick break. I don't know that we did a great job of saying that it was a break, so I might need to re-record some little like, and we're on a break now. But we're back anyway. We're gonna get into the best gameplay category. We have two left. It's best gameplay, and then game of the year after that. So it'll be exciting time. The nominees for best gameplay are Doom Eternal, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Half-Life Alyx, The Last of Us Part 2, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, Risk of Rain 2, Super Hot Mind Control Delete, Valorant, Ghost Runner, Deep Rock Galactic, Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Astro's Playroom, Cardo, Kunai, and Creature from the Well.
Right off the
So,
bat,
like,
who has actually played Half-Life Alyx?
I think just
Czar.
Just Czar.
I have not. I'm not the one who nominated
Oh,
that.
well then who nominated that?
Cut
Oh,
it.
we're cutting. I'm all right.
We're cutting it. No one's here. All right.
Wait. I mean, it's a good. I mean, it
No, but no
looks
one's
None of
played
us
it.
played it. We're cutting it.
But none of us
It's gone.
played it. So
None
none
of
of
us
us.
experienced the
It
game.
looks good. Is not good enough. We have to play the game.
I can't afford VR.
Yeah,
Similarly,
I don't-
Michael, do you want to say something about Call of Duty? Because, like, come on. Like,
I didn't know. I didn't
it's
even
good
nominate
at shooting.
this. Yeah.
Oh, is the, who
It's
nominated?
another
it?
No,
Call of
I
Duty
think it might have been like Emily nominated this, but I mean, it's a good
That's
Call of
okay.
Duty game. It's
a good-
fun. I don't think it
I
deserves the
enjoyed
same
this Call of
play.
Duty.
Yeah, it was fun.
All right, it's out of here.
I think this is
Alright,
is really
Czar,
good.
I don't know if you feel the same way, but I do not care about Valorant.
I
We can
I
leave it
think-
on first
I
pass
think-
and come back in a
You
minute.
know, on first pass. Yeah.
yeah.
What about Fall Guys?
I think it's.
I think we should leave
Oh,
Fall
sorry.
Guys on first pass.
But
I think we gotta
Fall Guys
cut
leave
I
on
want
first
to
pass?
hear more
Yeah.
about the other games on this list first.
Fall Guys
Alright.
stays.
Okay, stays. Okay.
I'm not sure what Deep Rock Galactic is. Noah, was that a U nomination? or
Yeah,
who's
I
that?
nominated that. It's
Okay.
kind of like a Left 4 Dead type game,
Let me watch.
but it has
where's
you
the
play as
trailer for it?
dwarves trying to mine for
Oh, that's the one.
materials and whatnot.
It's been in early
That
access
looks
for like
fun.
2 years.
I've been wanting to play that. It's on Game Pass.
Did it leave early access?
Yeah,
Yes,
it
it did
it's,
leave.
it's officially released this
Okay.
year.
Oh, that's good.
I checked. I was like, hasn't this game been out for a while? It's like, oh, it's really.
Okay. I mean, Hades left early access this year. It's been out since
Yeah.
2018 in early access. So, oh, this is a first-person shooter.
The Deep Rock, yes.
Oh, okay.
It's really fun to look at.
It has like
How
you
is
have,
it
like,
a
you have,
better
like, 4
first-person shooter
characters.
than any of the other first-person shooters on this list? I'll ask that.
I think it has some nice co-op gameplay that I don't think any other of the shooters have on this list, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it is the only like co-op first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that? I mean,
That's
but does
not a whole
that?
lot. That's not a
It's not a whole
giant
lot.
argument.
Is that the only thing about it that it has
Well,
co-op?
but it-
Co-ops are far few between. Or
only
I
kind
mean,
mean,
yeah,
I'm just
but,
always immediately skeptical of FPSs because it's not my
Does-
play style.
Mhm.
So
Mm.
again,
Yeah,
just
but-
my opinion factoring in.
I mean, does Valorant count as tactical?
yeah, it's like what do you count
FPS?
as FPS? Like that's the thing of like that point. I feel like this
Valorant's
is like
yeah.
a.
But Valorant is 100%
whatever,
FPS,
yeah.
But I
don't know
don't.
if I
Yeah,
would say
if,
it
like
as
if we're just,
co-op.
I feel
Like it's a
the
very
Valorant
different game
doesn't
from
have,
what Deep Rock I think
I
is.
feel like
Here,
doesn't
here,
have a
real
lot to
quick,
it.
since I've already talked a lot about it, I'm gonna take The Last of Us Part 2 off. I touched on the fact that like starting over halfway through this game sucks.
Yeah.
And is like a
wait,
big
why?
issue.
do we
Why,
actually
why,
want to?
why?
Because the actual
Why?
gameplay, like elements, like playing the game, like is it that bad to where you have to restart halfway through to where the entirety of what you've done in between there is irrelevant?
More or less.
Fuck yes, it is. It sucks having this.
I don't understand this argument. No.
Yeah,
Why
no,
is it bad? Why do you not like it?
Because you
But-
spend the game up to that point getting Ellie to a point that like this is how I like to play. And personally, like this is just me, but like I prefer Ellie's playstyle to Abby's, and which is not an argument I'm trying to make for why it's bad, but it's just like I play as Ellie for a good time, and you have like options, and then you immediately start as Abby, and it's like you have a pistol and nothing else, and like that sucks. Going from a fully kitted out like character and having lots of options in combat to like, all right, you have a pistol, run around, we'll give you some more weapons as time goes on, and I think. I don't know. It's just I do think it's bad. Like the
I hate when
gameplay
games
itself,
take
the
away your
gameplay
weapons
itself
in
is
the
not
middle.
bad, but when it's just you just start over in the middle, like that, it's
So is that a
so
gameplay
hard.
issue
don't-
or is
I
that a
don't
story
feel-
issue? Or...
I don't
I do
feel
think it's a
like both
gameplay
those
issue.
things
I
are
think
the
that's a
same.
Because it
gameplay
affects the
issue. Taking
gameplay.
away
It
your
affects how
ability
you
to
play
do
the
things.
game.
Okay, I feel like it's the whole parts like the one like let's take the EA trailer for example. The actual when you actually play that, like hiding in the grass, like doing a silencer on, figuring out what things you need to use, all the traversing, all that stuff. I love that stuff. That was the highlight for me in the game. Like going through those silent and stealthy parts and then the trying to take people out sneakily, getting caught, and then just going into the absolute brutal combat of the gritty parts of it. I think that is an absolute highlight of The Last of Us Part 2. I'm still an iffy on the game, but going back and playing those levels, I absolutely love, and I think it's an absolute highlight of the game.
I
How
like the
about we set
difference
that
in.
aside for a bit?
I like the slight
Because
difference
you
in
seem to
how
have that
Abby
I want to
plays
talk with a little
compared
more.
to Ellie.
I think the gameplay suffers from some similar issues that the story does, which is pacing, and that a lot of these levels feel overly long. It's like, all right, I feel good, I did a lot, and then it's like, okay, here's another wave of enemies, and it's like, come on, I killed 50 of these guys already. Why are 20 more coming at me now? It's just a lot of like. You're still doing it's similar narrative issues. Like starting over kind of sucks. Not having any of the tools you had before. All of the levels take like a bit too long to get through. It's just like the gameplay there is good. It's like none of Naughty Dog's games have like the best gameplay ever. I do think the stealth is the highlight of this game, and probably how it wants you to play the game. But I just don't think it's amazing, and I think it suffers from enough other issues that I.
All right.
All right, so it stays in.
So many other games on this list do such a phenomenal job with their gameplay that there are too many issues with The Last of Us Part 2 to leave it here with the rest of the nominees.
And I guess my
I-
other question, Santi, is you liked all the stealth stuff, but did you then like losing all of your upgrades that you spent time working and then playing a character that didn't work as well with
Personally,
stealth?
the thing I did not like, I did not have a problem with having my perks and stuff reset and getting like my weapons back to zero, because I'm weird. Like I understand I'm in the minority here. I love starting from nothing and working my way to be a badass. I love stuff like that. The problem I had with it was the story and the pacing of like the narrative. I'm like, I don't want to play as Abby. That's what made me take a long break. I just did not want to play as Abby. That was the issue I had. The gameplay wise, I think it's phenomenal. I want to talk about my favorite moment in the game. It was very simple. It's very simple. I went up into this big old tower. It was empty. It seemed like a big battle area. I was really confused. And I went into one of the workbenches. And like, okay, I go down. I'm like, oh, perfect. I want to upgrade my rifle. This is gonna be great. And I start like adding an attachment. and I hear footsteps behind me, like someone is charging me, and oh my, because there has never been a moment in The Last of Us where that's your safe area. Once you can upgrade your weapons, that's a safe area. You're cozy, okay? Nothing can hurt you, okay? It's like throwing a blanket over you in the nighttime. None of the monsters in your closet can hurt you. It's a rule, and they broke that rule. And I heard the first footsteps going after me, and I screamed, and it was my favorite thing in the world.
I thought of something that I want to bring up.
Okay.
Rat King fucking sucks. That random ass boss fight that you have to do as Abby, running around in the dark, just pumping ammo into it. That boss fight fucking sucks.
But
And,
what
like-
about the boss fight with what about the flashback with Ellie and Joel when you face the big old boomer thing? I loved the
That's not as bad. I didn't have an issue with that one. It was Abby's like, all right, we're just gonna drop you into this thing. A Resident Evil monster shows up, and your options are you have to use the weapons that require you to be close to it, but also it has really big arms and will totally just grab you and throw you against a wall. So your options are try to shoot and then run around completely in the dark. You can't see anything in that boss fight arena, and so you're just running into things. It hits you. Like that boss fight fucking sucks.
Yeah, I did not have a problem with that boss fight. I don't know what I didn't have a problem with that boss
that boss
fight.
fight fucking sucks.
The only reason I'm trying to make is the point I'm trying to make is I do not think it deserves to be cut. I think there is enough fantastic
I
gameplay
think-
here
I
to be
I
a
don't think it
competitor.
stacks up to the top three. Being top three in this,
I
I don't
think
think
it's
it's
like the
anywhere
top
close.
3.
I think Last of Us Part 2 has some phenomenal level design. Okay.
Nobody's arguing that the gameplay is bad. We're saying that the gameplay isn't good
I don't think
enough
it stacks
to be
up to any of the
top
rest of these.
3.
Well,
Wow.
how about we
Not-
cut
not
some other
any.
ones first?
All
Let's
right,
cut some
here,
other ones first.
I'll cut some other ones first. I'll cut Astro's Playroom. It's a fun platformer, but like that's it.
Yeah.
It's
What
not
about-
even like a.
What about
mind-blowing
Cardo,
platform.
Kunai, and Creature of the World?
I would like to leave. I'll cut Kunai. It's fine. It's a fun Metroidvania. Whatever. I would like to keep Cardo and Crucian the Well on a little bit longer. I do think
That's
there's.
fair.
Actually, I'll cut Cardo. I'll keep Crucian the Well. I think Crucian the Well actually is very fun. We'll get to some other things first since there's enough contention on The Last of Us Part 2. Risk of Rain 2. We haven't mentioned that yet. How are we feeling about that?
Who played it?
Zara nominated that, right?
I put that on. I think it's a really good roguelike. Compared to the other roguelike on this list, which is Hades, it's much more of a classic roguelike in that you can go forever. It's really like that power fantasy thing. It's a lot of fun. That said, it is against the other roguelike on this list, which is Hades, and I don't think it stacks up to that. I'm fine cutting it.
All right, we'll cut Risk of Rain 2.
Fun game.
Can we cut Super Hots?
Super Hot's fucking awesome. I'm
Super
not.
Hot's
surprised.
I love it, the gameplay, but like,
You cannot tell me that Super Hot is worse than Last of Us Part 2. That's crazy. Super Hot is awesome.
Super Hot relies
Hot
on
rules.
one shtick. Super Hot, I love it. I think it's fantastic. It's brand new, but it relies on one shtick. It's
What?
the slow mo. The slow mo.
Yeah,
like you don't move.
it's like it's a
pretty
puzzle
good
combat.
shtick,
It's amazing.
It's a good
Like,
shtick. I know. I think it's
not
a great
gimmick.
shtick.
It's
But-
it's a phenomenal
It's
core
a
idea
shtick
that the
that's
entire
not
game
new,
smartly
though.
builds around for the entire time.
Very much.
It's
Very much so.
constantly adding new complex layers that make it
I
all
do
super
like
interesting.
it, and it's all support that thing. But this Last of Us 2 does the same stuff. It has a whole idea,
What
and
same
it
stuff?
involves a
No.
puzzle.
We have
No, it does
tabled
not.
The Last of Us for now. We have
All
tabled
right, I'll
The
move
Last
on.
And the people
I
who
think
played
Super Hot My Control Delete has some like nice roguelike level design in it, and it allows you
It does.
to use a
Yeah.
diverse amount of
It's not a full roguelike.
stuff
but it
that's
is,
in
yeah.
the game. Yeah.
Has elements to it, yeah.
Can the people who
All
played
right.
the new Super Hot
Why
talk
don't we
about
talk
like
about
why it's
Doom
different
Eternal?
from
Michael,
the
I've
original
talked a
Super
lot.
Hot?
You go. You go.
So with the new Super Hot, it makes it more like into, I kind of want to say like almost arcade style, where it has like it's based on levels and you like progress through it like that. That would say is a bit of roguelike. And on top of like, it's not just one shtick. What you have now is you have the ability to upgrade yourself in ways that, and you like choose what you want to do. You can like choose when you start a set of levels, like do you want more health going into it? Do you want like to start with only katanas? Like what do you want to have your ability be? And then you progress through each level, which by the way, the levels that you play through now, the enemies are randomly spawning, and there will be different types of enemies in there and different traps in the levels as well. So each time you play through it, it's going to be a bit different. And then also, as you progress through each set of levels, you'll get more chances to give yourself more upgrades, like, or maybe you can heal, or maybe you can like start the next level with a certain item. And it actually makes it so that the core Super Hot element of like the first game, it's still very much there, and that's still like the key point of it, but it expands upon it and makes it like really thrive with the ability to upgrade yourself and how it uses level designs to help it.
Super Hot's awesome. Let's talk about Fall Guys.
Fall Guys.
Trying to not be so heated.
I really like Fall Guys. I don't know
love
if it'll,
Fall Guys.
I'll be in the top 3. I really like how it has like a battle royale that isn't just like an FPS, FPS with third-person shooter game. I love how it's based on mini games and how it's a battle royale, but then it has like levels to it, and it's like progressing farther in each level, and like how it'll eliminate a couple more people each time. I think that also, as it's progressed through the seasons, it's added really cool levels. I think that its new season in particular, with how like the winter and how like all the levels have a bit of like a snow element, are really nice and cool. Like I don't know if it's gonna be top 3 though. I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. It's nice and like wacky and cartoony, and like you're just little beans running around, and you can grab people and chuck them off of ledges, and you gotta avoid slime. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love the physics aspect to this game and how much it affects your character and the movement.
Yeah, it's great.
Like you'll actually be able to jump and then like hit a ramp, like a slope, and then your character will actually speed up
and get like a speed boost on it.
Yeah.
It's really cool. But I get if we want to cut, because looking at the others, I don't know if it'll be in top 3.
I don't
It
want
is
to cut
an
it yet.
honor to be nominated.
No,
It's
I
an
don't
honor
want
to
to
be
cut it yet.
Well,
I won't cut it yet.
It doesn't,
All right,
it's not, it doesn't stack up to the others. Is the
So what
thing.
about,
people.
Ori and
Really?
Lily?
There's still
I'm
a few
sorry.
games we haven't talked about yet, though.
There are.
Yes,
Tommy,
there
what were you
are,
gonna say?
but
I was gonna say, I'm sorry. I went to the bathroom really quick. Santi, I cannot believe you came for Super Hot. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, you're
no,
coming for
we'll
that of
admit-
all
we'll admit,
games.
The thing was, I did not know the second one evolved so much on the first one. I only played the
Yes.
first one, so I was stuck in the mindset of just like, okay, it's the same level. Like I didn't know they added like the randomly generated stuff. I didn't know you could do
Even the
upgrade
first was better
things.
than last. Was probably better.
I messed up. I apologize. I did not know they added that much onto it. I was just thinking about the first one. I'm like, okay, it could have just been a sequel. It's probably very simple.
Being Spider-Man guy, will cut Spider-Man. It's good gameplay, better than the first game's gameplay. But there are several other games on this list that are better, so I'm gonna cut it.
what about Doom Eternal? What's different about it based on like as compared to like Doom 2016? What's new?
Oh, Dash.
What's good?
The Dash fundamentally changes that game for the better.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's a lot
problem-
harder.
Even
It's
is it
harder.
worthy of top 3?
Yeah,
it's
I think
got
so.
it's
Probably.
It has to be. It has to be.
that's a game that you play and you feel good playing it.
Rip and tear, baby. Rip and tear.
Rip and tear.
How do we feel about Valorant?
That's what I was gonna go next.
Yeah,
Valorant
I
people.
think it can go.
I think
I-
it can go.
I think it can stay. I'm saying this as somebody who has 800 hours in CS:GO, and like that was my game growing up, and I kind of sucked at it. But I think Valorant does everything that CS does. At least, like it breathes a fresh new life into like that tactical shooter genre. All the characters have like their unique personalities, and you can feel that in the gameplay. The sound design just works very well for that game. Like it will reward you for being a good player because they have that incremental sound when you get kills. So when you finally get that ace, it feels super sick. What am I trying to say?
He's right
Sorry.
about that.
No, you're fine.
Tommy admitting that Czar is right. Oh boy.
I've only ever gotten an ace once, and I killed 6 people. To reference that, there are only 5 people per team. One
Yeah.
of them was revived, and I killed them again.
I think
felt
all the
so
character
fucking
abilities
cool.
add like an extra layer to the game that allows for a lot of creativity when it comes to plays. Like there's been so many things that the community has found out about the game since the game's launch, like different ways to plant the bomb, like with Sage Wall, for example. Like you wall off the corner of sight and you plant in that little corner, and then you just hide in bathroom unbind and you wait for the enemy to push you. And if you have like also there's just like a lot of accessibility things that have improved from CS, like being able to see how much money you have next round. That's just like a really nice change, that so you don't have to worry about doing all the mental math in between rounds. Just little things like that that I think make it fundamentally a good shooter, like a great shooter.
All right. As much as it pains me to do this, in the honor of trying to cull something from this list, I think I will take off Ghost of Tsushima. It's a
Wow.
very good game. I enjoy the combat in that a lot, but I do think there are a few other things on here that are like have a better fundamental core probably, and I'm trying to get something off of this list. So
Can
you
we
could
cut
take-
can we cut Deep Rock Galactic first after we cut that? That just feels bad to have this game
I
on.
You
think
for
I-
that
can
long.
cut Deep Rock.
I-
Wait,
I'll cut
and
Deep Rock
also,
first.
I think you could cut
Can
The
we even
Last
talk
of Us
about
after
Creature
that,
from the Well?
because
Yeah.
I think you
Cut
could cut The
Last
Last
of
of
Us
Us after that.
Okay.
No, I really love the level design in that game. I disagree.
Got it.
But like, what
Well-
else besides the level design? Silence is an answer.
Silence is an answer, it's
I'm
cut.
cast Last of Us
No,
Part
I'm,
2.
Yeah.
I'm fine with cutting Last of Us. I think
If
Ghost of
it's
Tsushima
not-
is
I will-
better.
I'm gonna cut Tsushima after I delete The Last of Us. So,
But wait,
these
do
are all
we
stricken from the list.
want to cut Ghost of Tsushima? Because I do have some. I do.
Monty, you can't win everything.
You
No, I'm
can
just-
cut
I'm
Fall
just
Guys
bringing
first.
in-
How about this? You can
Alright,
cut
I'll
Fall
cut
Guys
Fall
first.
Guys. We
Love that
haven't
game, it's a lot
really
of fun.
talked much about Ghost Runner, Ori, or Creature in the Well.
Tell
talking about
Edie,
Ghost
you're
Runner
the one who
first?
played Creature of the Well, right?
Okay. Yeah, I play Creature in the Well. I think I'm the only one who
Yeah,
played
tell us
it.
about Creature of the Well. What is it?
Creature in the Well is dungeon crawling pinball, and that's rad as hell just to say. It's like it's all based around like you're crawling through a dungeon or whatever. The levels are really fun. So you have like your sword or whatever your like paddle is essentially, and you can charge up a ball and then swing your sword, hit the ball, and it bounces around the room, and you have to try to hit a bunch of different things to like get the desired effect out of the room. Sometimes it's usually hitting a bunch of different nodes to like sink into the ground or like stop them from firing projectiles at you. It's very, very fun. There's different power-ups you can get, like different swords have different abilities, some that will like slow down time more for you, some that when you hit it, they launch like 3 balls instead, so you can have a higher spread. I think that game is like super unique. I've never played like action pinball before, and I just think that's really fantastic. It's also like I think iterates on itself pretty well. There's the things that you start with gradually, like they build on each other in a really smart way. Lots of fun secrets in that game and like trick shots in some rooms where there's totally like, I would get the high score in this room type of stuff. I think Creature in the Well is super unique, and that's why I wanted to keep it on this list longer than some of the other little indies I nominated, because I think it's really, really interesting in what it does.
Like a lot of fun.
What about the
Yeah, it's super
gameplay
fun.
in Hades?
The game what?
The
Gameplay in
gameplay in
Hades.
Hades. Yeah.
I would rather talk about Ghost Runner first, because a lot of us think Hades is great. So, talk about
Enoch,
Ghost Runner or Ori first.
Enoch, you would
Enoch, I
probably
almost went
like.
off.
I think I'm for both of those, so I can talk about those. Even
Okay.
though I
Well,
played
no, what
those.
were you gonna say real quick before Michael goes on?
You would probably like Yoku Island if you haven't played that already.
Like Yakuza Island Express?
I think so. I think that's what it's called.
I've heard of that. I haven't played it. I'll check
It is
out.
also
if it's
has
similar to
pinball
pinball.
gameplay. Yes.
Ooh, I like that. Sound of that. All right, Michael, please talk about Ghost Runner or Ori.
All right, talk about Ghost Runner first. Ghost Runner is that game that seems like every year there's a game that gets to that like masochistic side in me where it's like it's gonna beat your ass until you get good at it. It is a first-person style game where you go through levels and you have a lot of like parkour and wall running aspects to it, and you are essentially like a ninja where your entire main weapon is just a single blade, and everything in that game is one-hit kill, including yourself. And is all about traversing the levels fast and like using the wall running and grapples and your special abilities to your advantage and getting around the enemies and making sure that you level successfully and also as fast as you can, because there is like actually like a timer element to it where you can like keep track of like and everything. I feel like that core gameplay of it is down to like fucking perfect on what it goes for. It is like, yeah, it's not like it doesn't have like a lot of elements to it. What it has, oh man, is it fucking great. Like the wall running in that game feels fantastic. All like the special abilities that you can get in that game are like great and feel really good. There's like some power-ups you can get that like slow time. The one that you can get to slow time makes you feel like even more of a badass. You can get like 10 enemies in front of you and you have like a slow time next to you. You just run through them all and just like slash them all, and you can just turn around and watch them all fall down. It's amazing. But yeah, I feel like what that game does of like the very hard replaying levels over and over. When you die, it is an instant reset. You don't have to like any like loading screen or anything. You just get back and go at it, and you just keep bashing your head against the wall until it finally breaks. And then they also add a hard mode into the game, because it's like if you didn't think the game was hard enough now, you can go back and kill yourself even more and die like on levels 100 times that you were acing before. And it is fantastic. The more I played that game, the more I fell in love with how absolutely hard it was, but it's so much fun to go.
All right, and talk about Ori a little bit. You're also the person who's big on
Ori.
Ori.
It's a great Metroidvania game. The combat in that game feels fantastic. All your different abilities that you can use. When you get into it and you can start chaining them really well, it feels really nice. It is surprisingly more difficult than I thought it would be, actually, especially early on. Like, that game kicked my ass early on until you understand how you're supposed to get into a fight and like how you're supposed to go with enemies. The puzzles it has in that game are really well done, with like using the environment to its advantage and like use certain colors and around to show you where to go. There are certain scenes where it's like chase scenes where you're running away from a big bad guy, and those always feel phenomenal because you see the entire level crashing and moving down around you, and you're like jumping through little cuts and like dashing through the air and swinging on vines. It feels a lot of fun to play through. And again, yeah, the core combat of that game, of the Metroidvania style, is just really excellently done.
All right.
So
So
what do we cut?
have 8 games here. We got 5 of these.
They're all winners.
Hey,
Not all winners. Nope. This is a hard one.
It
This
is
a hard
an
one.
honor
This
to be
is a
nominated.
really hard one.
what do you
Xavier,
say
yes, you have
about,
something to say?
yeah, what do you say about Creatures of the Well?
I would still like to keep that on, but if everyone's very strongly opposed, I understand.
I'm not strongly
I think it's
opposed.
really.
I think it sounds
prefer-
dope.
I
Yeah,
looked up
it
gameplay
sounds
right now.
cool.
It
It's not
looks
that we're
addicting.
strong.
It
It's
looks
not that we're
addicting.
strongly opposed. It's that you're the only one who's played it and can
Oh,
speak
no.
to the gameplay.
I
quality.
totally understand that, but that's also like Ori and Ghost Runner
I was-
as well.
Do we want to
like-
do a thing really quick? Do we
Mhm.
want to see what everyone's top 3 really is and work from there?
I
Sure.
will. Can I say one thing first? I kind of touched on it earlier.
Yes.
I still think, as much as it hurts me, I should cut Ghost of Tsushima because I think Doom, Hades, Super Hot, and Creature from the Well are all better or more interesting than Ghosts. Ghost is good. The stance system is fun. The stance system is not new. Other games have done it, but like Ghost is fun. But I think of everything else on this list, there's a lot here that I think deserves it more than Ghost. Ghost has a lot of strengths, but I think its combat is, while still very good, not its highest strength. So I think we should cut Ghost.
Very well put.
All right.
I'm striking Ghost of Tsushima from this list.
And we're down to 7.
How are we still feeling about Valorant?
I want to hear
You know
what
what? I ain't
the
feeling
other people
Valorant.
have to say. Like, why?
Okay. So I started playing because I played a lot of CS:GO before. I started playing Valorant. Like I watched streams to get the key and everything. I played it really early on. It's good. I enjoy it. It's one of those esports games to where there is a extremely high skill mastery. The gameplay might seem simple. It's like, oh, these characters, they have a power and things like that. Oh, you can get different guns. Oh, you have money to spend. But it's one of those games where, as the years go on, people are going to be finding new things, and each character that comes out is going to open up new gameplay mechanics, all new tips and tricks, all sorts of things. Really, the possibilities are endless. Which
I feel like that's getting into an ongoing game argument.
Yeah.
Like we can't judge it based on what it
Okay.
might be in the future.
well, currently
Tommy,
it still has that.
Oh no, I'm not trying to say it's not
Yeah,
currently
yeah.
good, but we can't judge it based on it
Yeah.
might be better one day. Tommy, you look like you have some things to say about Valorant.
I was gonna say, like, sure, it has a high skill cap. It's a fun shooter. I actually do enjoy it. However, one of the most unbalanced thing is fucking blinds in that game. Blinding people is ridiculous, and the fact that they introduced a character that has 3 of them means that you can have a team that just endlessly keeps you locked. I don't find that fun. I find it actually kind of unbalanced, and it's just
Who's the like the person who was added with the turret? What were you guys' thoughts on that? Like, was it unbalanced?
I think she's fun.
Okay, Tommy.
I
Like,
don't know
maybe
what the
unreleased,
fuck you're
no,
talking
but
about.
like
Yeah.
with updates to the game, I think she's
Oh,
fun.
Killjoy.
Yeah.
Killjoy's fine. I have no
Because I
problem
had a
with
bunch of
her.
friends that completely quit playing whenever she came out because they absolutely
have-
hated her.
I have problems with the bird lady, and that's where I sit.
Bird Lady's hard. I play her. The flashes don't always hit. Because sometimes they'll be flying overhead and then you'll get half the flash. And she'll say blinded, but they're not blind. You peek that and you're dead. I peek that and I'm dead, rather.
I feel
Everyone
like
else, how are we
I feel like
feeling about
Valorant's
Valorant?
gameplay is good, but not revolutionary, and I don't think it would be top 3.
How Michael, Xavier, Bryn, how are y'all feeling about Valorant?
I think
I have
Valorant
no
can go.
opinion.
I agree. It doesn't sound like it's anything super special.
All right.
I see I'm
will
in the minority and
strike Valorant from the
conceding.
list.
I'm sorry, Czar.
It happens
Sad.
to all of
We
us.
all lose
Yeah.
something today.
I already lost Persona 5
We all
Royal when I
lose
wasn't awake.
something.
So.
We all lose our babies at some point.
That was
Oh.
Czar's biggest loss, and he wasn't even here for it.
Yeah,
Yep.
and you
Yeah.
lost it in the worst way too.
Lead
Stricken from everything.
disqualification. All right,
Even argue
so
for music.
It
we're
was
down-
removed.
whatever, we'll give
The
it.
canon was removed from the entire series. It like
we're
it never
all right.
existed.
We're down to 6: Doom Eternal, Hades, Super Hot, Mind Control Elite, Ghost Runner, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and Creature from the Well.
Hmm.
Okay.
If
Do we-
I
do
hear-
we think
Here's the question.
I
What do we
if
think
I
was
hear
the
one
most
of
innovative?
if I hear one of you fucks say something bad about Hades gameplay, I will kill
Tommy
you.
was about to come beat your ass, Santi. Tommy was about to beat your ass.
I'll talk about Hades. I'll talk about Hades for a minute because it's the one we haven't touched on out of all these.
Yeah.
'Cause we've all been like, yeah, it's Hades. The most impressive thing about Hades is that there is nothing in that game that is bad. Every weapon is awesome in its own unique way. Every boon you can get is totally beneficial to you in some different way depending on the build. Like there is a deep level of customization and options when you get into a run of that game that makes every run feel different. Like you will frequently in that game have runs where the boons you get, you'll be like,
just
man,
hitting
this
every
is
single time."
fantastic. I will
Yep.
never have a run this good again. And then like the next run, you're like, man, this boon set out is fantastic. I will never have this good of a run again. And you're constantly telling yourself that because there's so many great ways that everything meshes together in like unique, interesting ways. And like,
Not to
it's-
mention that like
go.
alone there are 6 weapons and each weapon has 4 different ways to like customization options to use it. Every time you play that game, you can play it completely differently.
On top of that, there's also the heat system, which like after you beat the game for the first time, that adds like a new layer of
you can make it
difficulty
harder
to
for
the
yourself
game.
if you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
It
Eternal
sounds like
Measures
Hades
4,
is a keeper.
just like straight up
Hades is
one
absolutely
of my
a keeper, I
favorite
believe.
boss fights I played last year.
All right. I totally believe Hades
I
is
would
like
just
a
like-
strong keeper. Like I think Hades is the top 3 spot.
I like to
Uh,
hear like
I
negative.
suspect that Hades is going to end up getting Game of the Year from us.
Maybe.
We saw
We'll
gameplay.
see,
We saw
we'll
gameplay.
see. We'll
We gotta
We're not
give
there
us.
yet. How's everybody feel about Ghost Runner? Ghost Runner seems very cool. I like it a lot. I would like.
Here's
to
my
play
thing
it.
with Ghost Runner. I will say,
Mhm.
it is very great. I love it. If you are not into that type of gameplay, you're gonna hate it. I understand that this aspect of the game being extremely hard and dying over and over is very much not for everybody. I hate that I love those types of games. They pain me to know it. I spend hours on just bashing my head against the wall on one level over and over.
I love
And I
Dark
hate it,
Souls.
but I love it, and it's great. But I understand
Here.
if no one else wants it.
Here,
Wait, how
about this?
long is the
I'll
game?
strike.
It's
It's
not
not that
long.
long. I don't think.
It's not
It's only,
long.
only a couple
Yeah,
hours.
it's not long.
Okay.
like what's the most
That's
compelling?
that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
think
here-
Hades, Doom Eternal, Super Hot are my like most compelling ones.
I think Hades Doom
How
Eternal.
about this? I'll strike Ghost Runner, but Michael, maybe you can make a segment about it for the award show
Maybe,
to
okay.
honor it.
Yeah, we're making deals now.
I'll strike Ghost Runner from the list.
I'll bake you a whole
Uh,
cake if we bring Last of Us back.
Similarly, it seems like people are big
No.
on Hades, Doom, Super Hot. I would like to maybe argue a little bit for Creature of the Well, but over Doom, I guess. I don't think that's going to be a successful argument, though.
I think we can get Ori as well.
Cut Ori. I think that's the vibe that we're feeling.
Yeah, I think that's what we're going on.
Alright.
Again, it's a great
Yeah.
Metroidvania. It's a lot of fun.
Mhm. And a similar vein to Michael getting Ghost Runner cut, I don't think I'm going to be able to convince everyone to keep Creature of the Well on here over Doom.
Yeah.
I think Doom
Yeah.
and
Am,
Hades.
am I,
Sorry.
am I correct in that? Okay, I
Yeah,
will
no.
cut Creature from the Well. What, Tommy?
So the only person you could probably convince is me, but that's it.
Yeah,
If you
Doom-
think that's enough, then go for it. But
I will cut Creature from the Well, though it weighs on my
Alright.
heart. It made it in a while.
You could also
now I have to
probably
decide.
convince me, but still minority.
Hades, Doom
without
Eternal, and
question.
Super Hot.
Hades without question.
I think there's an argument for
Hades.
Super Hot, honestly.
I think there is, but I think Hades is better.
I think-
Super
I
Hot's
think,
fucking
I think
awesome.
Hades. I think Hades
Hades.
is the most diverse of the group. I think,
think
it
it
has like
is.
more cooler
Okay.
play styles.
It has multiple.
It
things
uses
in its way.
terrain a lot
I
better in
I,
its
do-
most
I
gameplay.
understand your argument. I still think Hades
It sounds like everyone is firmly on Hades, so it is
Yeah.
Hades that is the winner.
We've
All right,
done it.
So the winner
We
for
barely
best
talked
gameplay
about
Oh,
Doom
was
right,
Eternal.
here.
We barely talked about Doom Eternal.
We
on
did.
here.
Doom
Everyone's just like,
Eternal's
it's Doom,
fantastic.
it's good.
I mean, yeah, it's really good. It's a lot of fun.
Hey, Michael,
play it,
talk
play
about
it.
Doom Eternal a little bit while I organize this list.
Oh, Doom Eternal is so much fun. It is fast paced as all hell, and it is all about running between different enemies, using your loadout, and the aspect of the glory kill that they added in Doom 2016 saved that game and made it a fucking masterpiece in terms of its gameplay, because it forces you to always be running and always getting into fights because you need it to survive. And I love how they use it. I love all your weapons in this game and how you can like upgrade them in different ways, and how they're like actually like different paths you can go kind of on your upgrades. You can, I think each weapon has like 2 different paths you can do on it. And yeah, I just feel like all the enemies in that game as well, like getting into a room, seeing what enemies spawn, and then like having to like figure out a path around the room, like which way you're gonna parkour around, which enemies are you gonna target first. It is a really, once it gets going, it is a lot of fun to be in. It is hectic and it is great.
Yeah, I really like the addition of the weak points to certain enemies, and then I
Weak points are
also
good.
really like the gameplay change that they made with the chainsaw. The chainsaw has a much more reliable use. Like, well, excuse me, you're forced to use it more, is what I should say. Actually,
Yeah, you're forced to use it more because it drops ammo, and you definitely feel that need for ammo.
Yeah,
But at the same time, it's like, again, it's just getting into another part of the rhythm. It's like, okay, I'm low on ammo, let me use my chainsaw now and get my ammo back, and then you're getting back into it, and it's like getting into that rhythm and feeling
Yeah,
that
Doom has a great rhythm of encouraging you to use every tool in your skill set.
Yes,
where
absolutely.
sometimes games can fall into like, oh, there's this one tried and true thing. I always do this, and so I'm going to win no matter what. In Doom, it really is like everything at your disposal is the way to play that game, and it encourages it in a very smart way.
You need to use every single thing.
All right, so we move on to the granddaddy of all awards, the big one, the important
Get Persona
one,
5
the one
out of there.
I thought I had earlier.
Not,
No,
it
it's still
wasn't
there.
even there to begin with.
Still there. It's taunting me. Get it out of there.
Then, with that disqualification in mind, the Game of the Year nominees are Doom Eternal, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Half-Life Alyx, The Last of Us Part 2, Wasteland 3, Super Hot Mind Control Delete, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 Remake, Valorant, Ghost Runner, Deep Rock Galactic, Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout, Cyberpunk 2077, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Animal Crossing New Horizons, Yakuza Like a Dragon, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Astro's Playroom, Bug Snacks, Cardo, Journey to the Savage Planet, Kunai, Creature from the Well, and Spiritfarer.
Okay,
Since
right
none of
off the
us
bat, I
nominated
think we
Half-Life
can cut
Alyx, right? I'll cut
Cyberpunk.
that.
Yeah, I don't think anyone here's played it.
Half-Life Alyx,
Unfortunate.
right? No one here's played it?
Which I
No,
feel
I'll
bad
cut
for
that
cutting
then.
it, because it
Yeah.
is
You can
really
also-
fun.
you can also
Oh,
cut
it looks
Wasteland
great,
3.
but none of us have played it, so we
Yeah.
can't speak
Yep.
to it.
I
That's
just
the
I don't. I
unfortunate.
just think it's
Oh, well.
a lot of us just straight up don't have the hardware.
Yeah, we just have
No,
power
yeah.
for it.
I think
Yeah.
you're Czar. You might be the only one that could theoretically even play it.
Yeah.
Quick question.
Even
Quick question.
Yes, Tommy.
Pro Skater says remake. Is that who he?
Well, we
I will take
touched on
Remake versus
earlier
remake.
What we touched on
Remaster.
earlier. Yeah, remake versus
remaster versus remakes type of thing. I'm okay with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater being on and Spirit being on the list.
Yeah.
But if I don't know if it'll end up in the top 10 because we're doing a top 10 ranked list. But for
Okay.
now, I'm not going to just disqualify it
Yeah.
patently.
You can get Wasteland 3 off of there.
Okay.
I absolutely love the game, but because me and my friend, my roommate, we played Divinity Original Sin together, two together, and this game was very similar. We both, I got him to get Game Pass. We both downloaded day one and started playing together. Holy hell, that game was so buggy and so not wanting. It was not wanting us to play together. We had to like find so many loopholes to keep on playing together. We had to reload saves that took way too long. I love the game, but you were smacking me around. I had to fight to play the game. Yeah, with my
Strike Cyberpunk.
I'm gonna go ahead and say
I'm going to strike Kunai real quick because I'm the only one who I'm the only one who played it, so I'm going to cut Kunai.
I was gonna say
Good
it.
game.
Street Cyberpunk.
Like fun little game, but
Ooh, I don't know if I want to cut that. Let's not yet. Let's go through. Let's go through this stuff. Come on.
I'll be honest. I didn't hear a lot of people say no to Cyberpunk just that soon.
I think
mean,
it's.
I didn't want to.
more-
say
No, I know. I think I
Four or
can.
five.
I
want to
do
be
not
top
think
10.
it's top 10.
No.
I think it's 10. Like,
Greg, you haven't
straight up.
played it.
It's
Well,
possibly 10.
We'll leave
It's a
it. We'll
buggy
leave it
mess
for
of
now.
the game. Even people who
Brady, you haven't
didn't play
played
the game know that.
we'll leave it for now. We will circle back around later.
Can we cancel
Deep Rock
Astro?
Galactic. Oh yeah, I'll
we
leave
can
Astro for
cut
now.
it.
Deep Rock Galactic, dude. Honestly, we're cutting that one, right?
Yeah, we can cut
Uh,
it.
Noah,
I gotta
Right.
say this. I
Say
really
it.
love dropping in and pressing the V button and going for rock and stone. There's just a ton of rock and stone puns that your dwarf characters constantly say to each other, and it's one of the funniest things ever.
That does sound fun, but it's not good enough. So we're striking.
Game of the
Yeah.
year for
Cut from the
puns.
list.
All right.
Astro's Playroom. I do think there's enough other things here.
Yeah.
Astros is, yeah. Astros is a lot of fun. It's a fun like PlayStation history. It's a good little platformer. But I will strike Astro's Playroom.
I
enjoy it,
honestly think Spiritfarer can leave.
but
All right.
really,
Really?
I
So
played it and I agree.
the problem I have with that game is that I really love it. I really love the connections you make with the characters. The problem is that after a while it becomes much more of like a collection management sim than it is those story bits. Because if you're not constantly like have enough items and materials to build people their like abodes and stuff like that, and they just get mad at you, and your game's like, you gotta go collect this stuff. And so it's never like, oh, I'm doing this and I'm like going around these islands. It's more like, oh, I'm just endlessly going through this field of jellyfish to collect materials to build Astra her house so she doesn't yell at me.
Right. You have played significant. You played more than I have. I've just played a couple of hours, so I can't speak to it as much. I will strike it from the list. I'll just say it appeals to me in that I like games that are about accepting death. It's a very weird like. I just really like all games that do that, and that game starts with like, you're the ferryman of death now, and you gotta get
To be
these
fair,
fears
it
through.
does a very good job at that.
Oh, it's
See,
very
I-
good. The problem is
I
that
might
after
end
a
up liking
while-
this game more than Tommy, but I haven't played it enough to say, so I will strike it. It's cut from the list.
Honor to be nominated.
Honor to be. That is true. It is always an honor to be nominated.
How do you feel about
Um,
Cardo?
I would rather there are other of the like bunch of indie games that I nominated. I would rather keep most of the rest of them, so I'll delete Cardo.
Okay.
Cardo was gone.
Hmm.
Shout out
What
to Cardo.
about
I may make a
Last
segment that's
of
just
Us?
about all these cool indie games.
What are we at currently?
We're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 games. We need to cut
Okay.
17 more, and then we rank them.
With
Uh,
with what we said past of The Last of Us, with what everyone's conclusion of the past categories with The Last of Us, I think it should be cut.
No,
I agree.
That's fair.
No.
Listen,
hold on.
I have my opinion. I think
Xavier,
Xavier,
only
you
played
didn't
for a
play it.
minute.
You didn't play it.
And that counts as playing. You know,
No,
I did play it,
Xavier.
all right?
No.
All right, hold on,
Xavier,
hold
come
on,
on.
hold on, hold on.
Go
Like
in,
you said
based
for,
off of what everybody else has been
Delete
saying
it.
this entire
Delete
podcast.
it.
Xavier, say what you want,
Take it.
and then I will decide. I am the judge and jury and executioner. I will decide once Xavier says his piece.
Here's the thing: if you're saying that The Last of Us is a bad game, that is an opinion I can
Not saying that.
understand. Then how about we go a little bit more on the list before The Last of Us, because I'd like to see what other people would say.
All right. I will leave it on there for now, but it is subject to execution.
Okay. Do you
So
want
Noah's
to
saying
keep
it's a bad game.
Let's be honest. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 remake. Michael, are you the one that nominated this? How
Man,
much
it's
do you
such
care about
it's
it?
such a good time to play that, but I get
It
if you don't need to
is.
keep it. It's a fun game. Also, I didn't want to nominate it for best soundtrack because it's just a bunch of licensed
It's just a bunch of licensed music.
But
Now,
man,
damn
the
good
songs in that
soundtrack,
game
but
are
a bunch of
good.
licensed music.
When the title screen of your game has Superman by Goldfinger playing, like that is what I want to hear. Like that is a good music to me. But I get it. It's a lot of fun to play. It really gets that like good Tony Hawk style gameplay of like getting combos and like doing all your different buttons together.
Dude, I love
Um,
doing pop shove-its and spins to Rage Against the Machine's Guerrilla Radio. Okay, one of the best times.
It's a lot of fun.
It sounds like this is leading to a but cut it.
But yeah, it can be
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Michael, do you think Ghost Runner would be
It
a
is
contender?
struck from the
I
list.
want to keep Ghost Runner.
Okay.
Put a bullet in Cyberpunk.
Put a bullet in
know.
Cyberpunk.
Horrible and Cyberpunk.
I think we need to wait. I think
Kill
we need
it.
to wait.
No,
on that
I
one.
don't. I think if
Kill
Last
it.
of Us isn't going, I
Go
can
buggy.
safely cut
Kill it.
Cyberpunk. Well, both of them I want gone, but Cyberpunk I've had way more issues with than I have Last of Us.
The Last of Us Part 2 has a lot of problems, but it is
It is a finished game.
and it is
Playable.
Right.
playable.
It's a finished game. It's a finished
can
game.
like
play
I will say
it does
that.
have it is playable. I'm like it is even though I may disagree with some of the choices it makes, it is very ambitious, and I appreciate what it's trying to do, even if I don't think that it's successful. And whereas it doesn't seem like
I feel the same
Cyberpunk,
way about Cyberpunk.
Yeah, but
It
there's
doesn't
no
seem-
punk in Cyberpunk.
Oh, yeah, no.
Cyberpunk
it
is a
doesn't seem
buggy
to me like
mess.
Cyberpunk actually everything Cyberpunk said it was trying to do seems like it was a lie.
Yeah.
Everything.
Cyberpunk is like a really good game when it works, but it works like maybe 30% of the time. Cause like I have had a lot of good moments in that game, especially like concerning city ambiance, like just being able to walk around the city and hearing like the noise. Like I was legitimately nostalgic for going outside because pandemic in Austin. So like
See,
Ah,
I get
I-
that, but then the illusion is ruined when I see the exact same character model T-posing right next to another one.
yeah,
Yeah. Kill it.
this hurts.
Also, you
All right.
need a good PC to make it with a full graphics and possibly buy a new Xbox or PS. So
Also,
Problem
I feel
is
like
that
the
I am playing it on
AI. I
PC.
feel like the AI in that game is like pretty easily exploitable if you know how to like
Oh,
maneuver
yeah.
around. Yeah, it's like
Like
Yeah.
there's so
I
much
think the
art in that
gameplay,
game that
even if it wasn't as buggy as it was, it still has a lot of unrefined areas that makes it feel a little janky and not very like fun to play in certain areas.
I think there's a lot of heart in the
Kill it.
game that was overshadowed by all the technical issues.
Yeah.
Because there's like that CD Projekt Red attention to detail from The Witcher 3 in Cyberpunk is just so easy to miss because of all the technical issues, which sucks.
It needs a little bit more time. in the
Sounds
oven.
like we are
Yeah.
striking this game. From
I
the
think,
Sounds
I think
like
it's
it.
cut.
and
Got
with
it.
that, it is gone.
Kill it.
Damn.
I'm sorry, Keanu Reeves.
Don't worry,
I'm
I'll
not.
nominate you 2021.
Do we want to keep?
Best ongoing game.
Do we
Best
want
ongoing
to keep Bugsnax?
I was actually about to say I would rather keep Journey to the Savage Planet and Creature from the Well over Bugsnax, and since these are all kind of my things,
Okay.
I think we can cut Bugsnax.
Okay.
All
Great
right,
character, Bonito song, very fun, lots of good voice acting in Bugsnax, but I do think it has to leave.
14.
Let's see how we're at 14.
Yep.
All right, we got 4 more.
Please don't kill
Are we-
Animal Crossing.
Who here has actually
No, I
played
think Animal
the
Crossing is
Brand,
definitely safe.
I would
Animal
not
Crossing
let
top
them
10.
kill Animal Crossing
Yeah,
from the
no.
top 10. Animal Crossing
Thank you.
absolutely deserves to be in at least the top 10.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What about
I have my problems with
Yakuza?
it, but I still think it's top 10.
I just feel like not enough people here have played Yakuza. It is a big problem that we have with it right now.
Yeah.
I've
Who
only
has
seen
played it?
clips.
Only Noah, I believe, has played it.
I guess I'm the only one that's played it. I think it deserves to be in the top 10 because it's just a fun, goofy
Well,
ride.
wait,
with
we
a
can't
lot
we
of
can't
heart
go
and
off of that
character to it.
mindset because Michael, you were the only one that's
Yeah.
played Ghost Runner, and Enoch, you're the only one that's played Journey
exactly.
and Creature. So
That's true. That's
we
true.
have
A lot
to-
of
we
these
also
games
have
won
to-
with only one person
True.
playing them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a
My
balance.
roommate has played a lot of that game, and I've heard nothing but good things.
yeah,
I've
I
also-
love the.
Doesn't mean much, I
Yakuza.
realize, but
Okay.
I think.
What about?
I think maybe maybe I can part with Fall Guys.
yeah.
Yes.
Ooh.
Oh, man.
That's
I
a
mean,
hard one for me.
I think Fall Guys should be in the top 10.
No, I mean looking at these other games, man. It's
I'd rather shoot Last of Us than Fall Guys.
same.
No, hold on.
Xavier, you have played half an hour and then
We-
your
we can
controller
only-
broke. Stop
We can
arguing.
only
for
hold
it.
on to Last
Yeah.
of Us for so long. And at this point, it seems like an inevitability The Last of Us is cut, given that there are 4 more to go, and
Drop
everything
the
else is so
axe!
hard.
Drop the
that
axe.
It seems,
Kill it.
Xavier, listen, buddy. I feel the same way. I think Last of Us should be in top 10,
Do it.
but nobody else here feels that way except you and I. So
I
feel
feel
like
I feel
I don't know.
it should be
I'd
top
rather,
10.
I'd rather
I
have
think it
Xavier,
might-
I
guys.
think
I
the
think
fact
you
that you were ripped
honestly.
away from the experience is factoring into how hard you're arguing for it.
I think, honestly, I think The Last of Us might deserve to be 10. I do
Yeah,
think it might
I
deserve to be
think it could be
maybe-
10.
I don't.
No,
I wouldn't say
execution,
number
my
one.
lord.
No way
No,
would
no,
I say Last of Us would be number one.
I personally am like I've played like a little bit of Ghost Runner. Like the demo, I wasn't a huge fan of it. I've played Valorant. I liked the game at first, but I just
Valorant was one I was going to ask about.
Time.
Darn,
How much are we really?
I felt like Fall Guys
Czar's-
is much more compelling gameplay.
I would
wise.
like that to at least be, again, top 10.
Well, the problem
No,
is we're at
think about-
14.
Lore house.
I think
That
Valorant
is the problem.
in the big picture is a really important game because it's one of the biggest, newest esports games. And
I don't think that-
That doesn't
That
matter.
means anything.
I
in this
don't.
argument.
Yo,
I
game of the
think-
year.
I-
Let's
again,
look at the
going back
big
Potential for
picture.
esports, I don't think.
We don't care
to
about
factor in.
esports here.
I think the
I'm not-
creativity already present in that game is reason, like a big enough reason for it to stay. Because there have been several moments throughout the year when players have figured out new things to do, like the Odin Sova meta that was around the first month, because people initially ignored LMGs because LMGs are trash, and then they realized, we have this aimbot character that can fire his arrow, and then if you combine that with the Odin, you can get some really nasty kills. For how do I explain this? The point being is, there's just like so much creative. I don't want to
There's
say
a lot of
potential.
Are you seeing
there's a lot of
creative
nuance to how you can play the game.
opportunities for people in
Yeah.
order to
Thank
change the meta, do different gameplay styles, whatnot? I guess that's what you're-
As an act of goodwill, I guess I will kill one of my babies. I will strike Creature from the Well from this list. We need to make some cuts.
Wow.
And I would rather
Michael?
keep Journey to the Savage Planet over Creature in the Well. Creature from
Okay.
the Well.
Noah, what do you say about
Michael, what do you
Creature.
feel? How do you feel about Ori?
Oh, we're
I think
keeping
Ori.
Ori.
Yeah, I think Ori's
say it.
top 10.
No, that's
Ori's
not.
top 10.
That's.
From the outside looking in, I think.
I just wanted to ask, since you're the only one who's played it.
Oh, yeah, no, Ori's staying. Like that's.
What's up
Okay.
with
We need to cut 3 more games.
Well, what about Yakuza?
I think some
Kill
of the
Last
weaker
of Us, my
ones
lord.
on
Kill
here
Last of
are
Us, my
super
lord.
hot. Spider-Man, I think, because
Spider-Man?
Nick, you
I think
as
Spider-Man
the
deserves a spot in the top 10.
I think it
I
does.
Okay,
also
I don't
so
think
agree
it
you
with
necessarily
as
needs to
the
be 1,
Spider-Man
but I think it
person
deserves to be
have
spot in the
kept
top 10.
saying
Kept saying what?
I think maybe
you've just in every category you've kept saying, well, as the Spider-Man person, I'm going to delete it, and so that's why I'm a little hesitant to
I think
say.
That's
can I sort of make a counter argument? I've been
Yes,
doing that
please
because
do.
I think Spider-Man's strength, similar to Ghost of Tsushima, is that it is better than the sum of its parts. Like individually,
Okay.
it's all
Okay.
good. It comes together to be something that's much more special than like just looking at the graphics or just looking at the gameplay or just looking at the storytelling. I think everything combined, that game really shines in a very special way. Which is why I've been okay striking from other ones, because I'm like, this game is really good, but there are just other games that I think do the individual parts better. This game is like sum that is greater
Yeah.
than the sum of its parts type of thing, which I think why
Okay,
it is.
that's fair. That's fair. That's a satisfying answer.
brilliant argument, my lord.
What about
Listen, all right.
how do people feel about
I-
Super Hot?
Super outstanding. I
Okay.
kind of defended it earlier. The Last of Us Part 2 is getting cut. It was
Yeah.
just
Yes.
Xavier and kind of me, so Last of Us Part 2 is getting cut.
I'm just saying.
What are we down to?
We all have to kill our babies at some point.
Is that 10?
There are
or is that
12 games on this list. We need to cut 2 more.
Oh
Two
my
more.
god.
How do you
What
feel
is it
about
you-
Journey? How do you feel about Journey, Ian?
No, I feel strongly about that.
Feel about
one.
Journey? Okay.
Okay, thank you, Tommy. Journey
You're
is
welcome.
very funny. It's just it's about just exploring. There's combat, which is fun enough, but it's mostly about exploring, and it's just have a great sense of humor. Like at the beginning of the game, you can pick like sort of your character. It's all in first person, so you think this isn't gonna matter. So I picked that I was a dog, and so then for the rest of the game, my sound effects for heavy breathing or like jumping were dog sound effects. I would like yelp or pant like a dog anytime my character had to do something, because I was like, sure, this isn't gonna matter. I'll pick dog, and then it was it totally mattered for the rest of the game. It was really funny. And it does about better comparing to a game from last year, Outer Worlds, which is very like corporate. It sucks. This is like you are signed up to a corporate enterprise that wants you to go explore planets so they can kind of come explore them for their resources. And I think it does a better job of lampooning that in a lot of ways.
Like satirizing it.
Okay, what
Yeah,
do we
satirizing
think? What do we think about Yakuza? What are our
I think
thoughts?
I think
Again,
it deserves
I
to be
have
top
not-
10.
Well, I think
it's
it
super
stays.
cool.
I think it
Super
stays.
You
I
think
think
it
it
stays?
stays.
Also argues.
I
only
would
Steve
think it
Flip.
stays.
So,
They
So,
changed the
Michael-
gameplay up too, right? It used to be a beat 'em up, now it's a turn based.
I feel like this comes down to 2 right now, and personally, it's because Michael previously said Fall Guys, and then it's Valorant.
I also agree that those seem like they're the most
Yeah.
likely to get
Yeah.
max.
Can
If
I,
that's the
like,
case,
can I like
Yes,
give
sir?
Valorant 11th in my heart?
Yes,
Yeah.
in your heart.
absolutely can do that.
I will take that. It's a W for me.
Oh yeah,
Alright.
we all have our
Then
own
we are not-
personal lists. Like that's
Absolutely.
Like, that's
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right, so we are cutting Fall Guys and Valorant, and we are now
Okay.
down to our 10, and we must organize them. I'm going
Let's
to
start with number 1,
make
shall
this.
we?
Number one,
No,
the
I'm
easy
going
one.
to say-
It's more fun if we go to 10 to 1. It would be.
I am going to say I think it's gonna
Normally
end up
we do.
being Hades,
let's
because
see,
Hades
normally
has
we do
won.
10 to 1. Go finish. I'm sorry, Brenda. I was interrupting you. You go ahead.
Hades has won gameplay, storytelling, music, and then is runner up for art. So I think Hades is a very strong contender for number 1.
What I was
But
going
it
to
is
say,
more fun to go from 10 to 1.
yeah, we normally go from 10 to 1, but also we all think it's Hades, right?
Yeah, it's Hades.
Absolutely,
And
100%.
I would put Hades at the top.
Everyone,
I haven't
Easy.
played it, and I know that Hades is
Guys, we
super
know
So
who
we have-
won before it's
we-
over.
Already decided the game of the year.
Now we determine the losers.
Yes, now
I-
we
Game was
determine
rigged from the
no
start.
all the
losers
rest
in
of them.
here.
The game was rigged
I-
from the start.
Personally, I think Animal Crossing is like a solid 10.
Yeah.
I think Animal
Hold
Crossing
on.
might deserve higher than 10.
I think it
because-
deserves
I
higher
think
than
it's
10.
higher than a 10.
Just a little bit. 9. Give it 9.
Put
See,
What
I
about-
think
There
Animal
are
Crossing.
flaws, I know, but it's very dear to me.
how about Enoch? Are you okay with Journey to Savage Planet at 10?
Maybe I would like to say something about Animal Crossing though,
Okay.
because I think similar to Spider-Man, that game does have a lot of issues. But like that game is super fun, and a lot of us played it together and had a very good time. And I think Animal Crossing's like its quality more than anything else lies like in its specialness and in its charm. The fact that like we can all play it and have a good time, and we went around to those islands and did all that kind of stuff. Like I think Animal Crossing, despite not winning any of the other awards similar to Spider-Man, like it's just a very wholesome, good game that like almost all of us have enjoyed. So I think
Alright.
it probably
The
I think
thing-
it deserves higher than 10.
The thing about
You're right. Sounds like a 9.
the thing about Animal Crossing is I think
Mhm.
it's a game we got when we needed it most. I think that's
Yes,
a
exactly.
big thing for that's a
And
big
I honestly think we can sort of count that in this.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
fair with doing that.
I
Yeah.
don't
It came
like
out
Animal
at
Crossing
the
that much, but when it first came out, I needed it. I
It united
that.
people, man. It really
know what?
did.
It was the Pokemon Go.
It united
like,
people in a
united everything
significant
we
way
needed
this
the
year that they
most.
needed.
It
Like, I
united
would-
us
It was
like
the
no
Yeah,
game
yes,
since
Tommy.
Pokemon Go has.
Yes,
You're
Tommy.
right. Put it at 9.
I know.
Thank
I think
you.
it still deserves higher than 9.
What would
Like I think this is I think this is at least a top 5 game. Like because of how important it was to us
Really?
this year. I
It
think this is
was.
a top
It
5
really
game.
was so significant.
Okay,
I would
so then I have
absolutely-
a question because we're gonna find no way to organize this. Where do we start? Because starting at the bottom, I feel like is not gonna work out well for us.
Here, I'll put Journey at the bottom. I'll put Journey at 10.
All right.
Mm.
All right.
Spider-Man number 9.
It's on the list. Let me
No.
put Journey at 10 for
I think
before we do any
Yakuza
of
or
that.
Spider-Man probably were 8 and 9.
No.
No.
Wait. Hold on.
What about
What about
Ghost
Ghost Runner? Yeah.
What about
Ghost
Super
Runner at 9.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
fine.
Super Hot should go above Ghost Runner.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Michael, what do you think?
Yeah, I think
Ghost Runner
Ghost Runner
Alright.
can be 9. I'll say I got Ghost Runner top 10. I'm happy. Like that was the goal I had for this.
Yeah, there
Honestly,
you go.
part of
You've
this is just I got into
You've
the top 10,
accomplished
so
your
like that's a
goal. I've
no.
accomplished mine.
All right,
I came here
will-
today to get Animal Crossing in the top 10. So I'm happy.
I was always going to get in the top 10 because I think that game truly being something special to
It
all of us,
deserves-
like
If
it
it's in
deserves
the
a high
top
place on the
5,
list.
I'm going to be ecstatic.
What about
Uh,
Yakuza 8?
It's not my favorite game of all time.
I'm good with Yakuza being 8, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's either Yakuza or Spider-Man there.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
think- yeah.
Like,
Spider-Man.
these
Hold on,
definite
wait.
A spots are Yakuza
Hmm.
and Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
just
It's
think-
just a matter of order there.
It's a little bit lower for Spider-Man to me, but you know, I just
I don't know. I think Spider-Man's personally higher.
Yeah.
okay.
So,
all
yeah,
right.
I haven't
Alright.
played it.
Y-
I
y- Yakuza at 8, it's sounding like. I'll put it
Yeah,
there.
Yakuza 8. All right, that's fine. I got it top 10.
Okay.
Exactly. Like, just getting a game in the top 10 is like an award in itself.
Uh-huh.
God.
Then I will put Spider-Man right above it at 7. I'm
Okay.
I'm okay with that. Let me get this down.
Okay.
Doom
So,
at 6.
Number 6.
No, I think Doom should be higher.
No.
Maybe
Um,
super hot at 6.
Mm,
Ori at 6, maybe? How's Ori sounding at 6?
Ori at
I
6.
think
That's it.
Ori-
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'm saying like we're at a point where all these are really good games. Ori was
Yeah.
a phenomenal.
Oh, this is a
experience, I gotta
great
say.
top 10 list.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
That was
I'd
such
say-
a
And-
Super
think
This
that's
was
an
a
end
great
Ori
year
at
for
6.
video
Yeah, I think
games.
then Super Hot, and then Super Hot.
Super hot
Yeah.
at 5.
Super Hot at 5. I agree. Super Hot. Super Hot's very good. I think all of these I would put above Super Hot.
Animal Crossing
Um,
4 or Doom 4?
Animal Crossing.
I would put
Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing above
They
Doom personally.
deserve to be together,
Oh.
to be honest.
I would
They
put
should
Doom at 4, Animal Crossing at
Honestly,
6.
yeah, they
Came
deserve
out-
to. Animal Crossing and Doom Eternal tied. Because we all know that Isabel in her spare time plays Doom Eternal. And we all know that Doom Guy in his spare time plays Animal Crossing.
I would personally put
Absolutely.
Doom at 4 and then Animal Crossing at 3.
I'm okay with that.
No,
Yeah,
fine.
that's fine.
Fine. Yeah,
That's
sure.
fine.
All right,
Yeah.
that leaves Ghost of
Okay,
Okay, I've
Tsushima number
accomplished
2.
my goal.
Tsushima number 2.
And then Hades won from the start.
Bryn is happy
Hades
now.
was it was the winner from the start.
That was the
Yes.
easiest game of the
Yeah.
year I think we've ever did.
I don't know. Last year was pretty easy too.
Last year was easy.
Last year's once it gets to game of the year, it's usually pretty
Well,
fast. It's
actually,
some categories that
Game
are
of the
awful.
Decade was more contentious because Enoch and I were yelling about Spider-Man versus Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver for a good long
Dude,
while.
me and Michael wanted Mass Effect.
That's something
too,
that I
right?
think
Mass Effect
What?
2.
Me?
Wait, yeah.
Or at
actually,
least, maybe not you. Maybe it was me.
I think it was me.
I thought somebody else was.
I feel like I might have done that.
Yeah, Enoch and I were going at it for Pokemon and Spider-Man.
Anyways, the top 10 list for 2020.
Yes, let me
Yeah.
read to you the top 10 games of the year of our Lord 2020.
Drum roll.
A year that we
The
will
worst year of our lives.
we will be glad to leave it behind, but damn, were there some good video games in
The year
2020.
we we will never forget, even though how hard we will try to.
Even though we want to.
There
At
we
number
go.
10 is Journey to the Savage Planet. Number 9 is Ghost Runner. 8 is Yakuza Like a Dragon. 7 is Spider-Man Miles Morales. 6, Ori and the Will of the Wisps. 5, Super Hot Mind Control Delete. 4, Doom Eternal. 3, Animal Crossing New Horizons. 2, Ghost of Tsushima. And number 1, our damn near unanimous game of the year, Hades.
Woo!
It's just like Spider-Man. It's back in 2019. It nearly swept.
No, Spider-Man
No.
Spider-Man won
won
because
2.
there was a split vote.
Yeah,
I was not
Spider-Man
here
won by
saying
default.
I heard that was a contentious year.
Spider-Man won because there was a split vote between God of War and
Red
Red
Dead.
Dead Redemption 2, and no one could agree on it, but everyone generally liked Spider-Man, so they were like, all right, Spider-Man wins. And I was happy because,
Okay.
I'm Mr. Spider-Man. I want
I would
Spider-Man.
have
to win.
fought for God of War to the death.
All right, let me wrap this up. So those are our top 10 games of the year. Just to recap a little bit, our Best Gameplay Award goes to Hades, with runners-up Doom Eternal and Super Hot Mind Control Delete. Our Best Storytelling Award goes to Hades, with runners-up Ghost of Tsushima and Yakuza Like a Dragon. Our Best Art Award goes to Ghost of Tsushima, with runners-up Hades and Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Best Music also went to Hades. Following up Hades was Doom Eternal and Journey to the Savage Planet. And the best ongoing game was Destiny 2, followed by Apex Legends and Among Us. A damn good year
those
for
are some
video
good
games, if I
picks.
may say.
Indeed.
Pretty
This
good.
was
Pretty good.
Indeed, my lord.
If it had to be a bad year for everything else, at least it was a good year for video games.
It absolutely was.
Good
And with
save,
that, I think we will end the Game of the Year podcast there. Thank you for joining us and listening to us yell about video games for the last 4 hours, something like
Oh,
that.
jeez,
It has been
a little less,
Three and a half.
3.5 hours.
3.5.
I missed my lunch.
Just about there.
I need to eat.
I need it too.
I need
Thank
to
you,
go walk the
everyone.
dog.
Please watch the award show. If this is out when the award show is out, that'll be fun. And we will leave you there. Goodbye and play some video games.
Woo!
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.